Let Commissioner get her laptop plugged in. Just lift that plate that should be plugged. All right, this is the call to order. This is the Durham Village Commission meeting. Today's date is May 6th, 2026. It is 4:04 p.m. We're here at 111 North Front Street, room 204. The next business meeting will be Wednesday, May 20th, 2026 at 12 noon. It'll be here at 111 North Front Street, second floor, next door in room 205. The next hearing will be Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026 at 4 p.m. Again, at 111 North Front Street, second floor in this room, room 204. We'll go ahead and swear in staff. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and the truth?
I do.
And your name?
Sophie Vogel.
Thank you.
I do. Morgan Graff.
You?
Too close to microphone. Apologies.
And then we'll go with the commissioners present, starting on my left.
Rachel Schultz.
Ned Thiel.
Anthony Harkey, chair.
Karen McCoy.
Effie Yin.
And compliments to the building maintenance. The microphones are working great today.
Yeah.
Yay.
Are there any items for public forum?
Not that I know of.
No public forum. We'll move on to the staff approvals, which begin on page. Go back.
5.
Page 5 of your agenda. Are there any recusals? Please speak forth.
Mr. Chairman, I do not.
None for me.
None here.
I have none.
I need to recuse myself from 377 Jackson Street. Check 2 more. I don't think I need to add a caution. I'll recuse myself from 217-223 East Livingston.
Mr. Chairman, I move to ratify the staff approvals.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it, motion passes. Moving on to the minutes from last meeting, April 1st, 2026.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the meeting minutes.
Second.
Any question, dealer's choice, any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it, motion passes. Moving on to the staff recommended applications, COA 2600305, 260 Lansing. Anybody here for 260 Lansing? Come on down. Take a seat, and once you're settled, if you raise your right hands. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and the truth. Your name? Thank you.
Charles.
Thank you.
Hey, this is application COA 2600305 at 260 Lansing Street. The proposed work description is to remove the existing landscaping in front of the house, install brick garden walls to be approximately 8 inches to 12 inches tall per the submitted documentation, replace and expand steppers in front of the house with new engineered steppers, remove existing concrete walkway and replace with clay brick pavers to match the existing brick. Staff analysis is the commissioners at the business meeting requested that the right-of-way lines are shown on the site plans. They also requested clarifications on why the 2 different heights for the brick wall. Is there a slope? They noted that they didn't see where the brick would replace concrete and requested clarification on where this would occur. They also noted that the front entry should be brick as opposed to clay pavers. A scaled and measured section of the porch and steps was requested, and cut and product sheets of the proposed materials are needed. Staff recommends approval of application COA 2600305 with the following conditions. Cut and product sheets for the proposed materials are submitted, scaled and measured sections of the porch and steps are submitted, an updated scaled and measured site plan, if applicable, is submitted. The basis for this recommendation is City Code Section 3116.13, Standards for Site Improvements, A, B, and the German Village Guidelines for Fences and Walls.
All right, anything else to add?
Part of that description I rectified in a letter sent, making the amendments to this, We are not replacing the walkway. That was on a previous version. And when I entered the permit, I did not realize that. So it's just the concrete walkway that exists there. All other than that, that's it.
Questions, comments from the commission?
Is everybody happy? Oops. Is everybody happy with the property lines that were indicated? Because I'm not sure where the right-of-way line is and whether that's an issue.
It is difficult to see if that curb, that wall is over the property line.
So for clarification, it's, if you go to page 11 of the application, or sorry, 17, last page. And if you zoom in on the front walk, what the commission is saying is where that right-of-way line stops. Visually, it looks like you're over the right-of-way. We really can't approve that kind of landscaping and a brick wall inside the right-of-way. I think what the commission could do is, if you'd like us to make this amendment, we could vote to approve the brick wall to be wholly within the property line, not into the right-of-way. And then it's on the applicant to make sure you get it put in the right place. And if the city says it's not, then you got to deal with the city.
Yeah, I think that's more a product of our design system.
Sure.
Yeah.
So-
Probably.
So if it turns out that there is going to end up being space between the concrete sidewalk and the right of way and where the wall needs to be based on property line, we've seen some like ground cover plantings placed in that area between the walk and the wall, which would be acceptable, I believe, unless there's any.
Or
objections.
mulch,
Or mulch.
Mhm.
or rock.
And the revised site plan would just need to be submitted to HPO staff to finalize and stamp the approval. Mhm.
And then right now, just for double clarification, the tree lawn is grass. There's one tree. I'm assuming you're not taking the tree out, correct? Cool. And I'm not sure how much of anything we need to go in front of the right-of-way folks, the city, in terms of the tree lawn, but you're not planting any trees or major
Obstruction.
structures or obstructions. So probably not much, but might just behoove you to check with the right-of-way folks.
Mhm.
I'm just not sure if the right-of-way permit's required for ground cover gardening or not. All right, any other questions on the application?
Mr. Chairman, would you like a motion?
I would love a motion.
Talk about the steps.
Yeah, sure.
Did we?
There were no steps. The sidewalk
Mhm.
was not, you're not placing any steps up to the porch, correct?
Okay, and that, because that all got removed with,
There's no
Okay.
playground
Yeah.
or something like that.
I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, on COA 2600-305, 260 East, 260 Lansing Street, I move to approve as amended by the applicant. The sidewalk, and clarification, one is all the work is behind the right of way. And number two, the sidewalk and steps are not part of this application as a clarification.
And
Second.
We got a second. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it. Motion passes. Thank you much. Moving ahead to item number 2, this is a continued application, COA 2600172, 544 South 4th Street. Applicant here for 544 South 4th Street. Okay, let me make a note here to come back to that. All right, we'll jump ahead to item number 3, COA 2600094 Bravo, 107 East Deshler. Right, take a seat, and once you're settled, raise your right hand. You good? You
And
swear to
bef-
tell the truth, the whole truth, not the truth. And your name? Thank you.
Sorry, I was just going to say real quick, I don't think the applicant mic is turned off. If you don't mind to turn it on when you're ready to speak. Chad, just FYI, yeah. You're good. Thank you.
Chad Porter.
There we go.
Thank
You were right.
I just
Thank you.
agree.
Staff can read it in.
This is application COA 2600094 at 107 East Dashler. This is a proposed work description for landscaping at the rear of the residence to remove the existing water feature and landscaping and to remove the existing wooden staircase and landing install a new deck per the submitted documentation, install new hardscaping at grade, install new landscaping and lawn, and install a new outdoor kitchen. The following is taken from the March 4th, 2026 German Village Commission hearing minutes. The commission is not supportive of closing the windows. They can't remember when they've allowed windows to be filled for a patio or for the landscaping to be so heavily altered by fill dirt. The windows are a contributing architectural feature and need to be retained. They can be blocked, such as by a structure in front of them, like a porch or open set of stairs. The commission was not supportive of the significant grade alteration for a terrace. They recommended a patio at grade with steps as a less intrusive option. It was also noted that the proposed railing doesn't have measurements, but they assumed it wouldn't meet code as the requirement is 42 inches. The height at the top of the proposed terrace would be quite high as well. The commissioners at the business meeting wanted to know how the CMU block walls were dealing with the existing windows. A cut sheet or product sheet is needed for the railing. HBO staff will check previous materials for cut and product sheets. Will the existing metal gate be retained? The commission noted that the foundation drawing showing a footer that would go into the existing wall. Please ensure that the drawings are accurate. Will the yard include lawn or artificial turf? The commission needs to discuss if the deck is appropriate. The proposed design is similar to a previously approved rear addition or porch, but doesn't have the roof portion. HBO typically views decks as suburban. Staff recommendation is continuation of application COA 260094 to allow for the design to be updated to better fit with the existing code and guidelines. The basis for this recommendation is City Code Section 3116.13, Standards for Site Improvements A, City Code Section 3116.11, Standards for Alterations, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, German Village Guidelines on Porches and Stoops, and I believe that is all.
Anything else to add? Tap us, the green light turns on. Just one push. Yep, you're good.
Ah, yeah, there's a light. I just have answers to some of the questions from the business meeting. Some of the easier ones, is the gate around the side being retained? The answer is yes. It's grass, it's not artificial turf. Yeah, I think those were the two simple ones. As mentioned in March, this was proposed as not as a raised patio where we would put in fill. That was denied, in part because of the grade change, in part because there's windows there. You can't see one of the windows very well, but there are, those windows there are under where the door is, because they have a door that's 45 inches above grade. And then they also have the service door that's kind of poking in the corner there. Then there's two right there. They all go to a crawl space under the house. So the new proposal was essentially to build the same thing, except have it be a deck, so no grade change instead of fill.
All right, questions, comments from the commission?
On this sheet, get elevations of the deck, cross sections of the deck. We don't see the kitchen. Is that part of the deck, away from the deck? Because on that east side, you're showing ventilation. You put the kitchen in, you won't be able to do that.
Yeah, that is
And plus,
not the latest drawing.
and you've got planters coming down on the south side, which would also block the ventilation.
Yeah, the kitchen would be right there. That's not really, that design is a mistake.
So my concern is the historic fabric that's underneath the deck.
Sorry, can you say that
The
again?
historic fabric that's underneath the deck, which is the two windows in the wall.
Oh, right, yeah.
Agree.
Three windows?
Yeah, three,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Is if there's water retained underneath there and there's poor ventilation, the potential damage to that basement wall, the windows, the window frames, et cetera, not to mention the eventual damage to the deck.
Right.
So that's my concern with this design is how are you going to protect the historic fabric by making sure there's good ventilation underneath that deck?
Yeah, as drawn, the only side that's open, you can't really see it from the renderings, but it would be
Yeah.
the west side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if there's gaps between the decking to provide ventilation, that's great. But it's also going to get more water underneath.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I
and we're
think there needs to be a
proposing-
solution to that.
Okay.
That's
We're
indicated in your
proposing-
application.
Building it freestanding. They'd be posted near the home. In part for the water management.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to do any sort of ledger board or anything like that on brick facade. So, okay.
So it seems to me that the drawings that we have now don't reflect what you
Correct.
would be proposing to do. And I personally feel like I would need more detailed drawings to evaluate this.
Okay. Other than what was mentioned by Ned, is there an issue in principle with the terraced planters?
In concept, no, as long as they're
Yeah,
not,
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
not-
the freestanding
yeah,
in
they're
front of
not,
the.
they're not affecting good ventilation
Yeah.
underneath.
Right.
Yeah.
And same with the kitchen.
Yeah, it's more of a side effects issue.
Yeah, I mean, if you can figure out some way of getting ventilation underneath there and appropriately locating those to do it, I have no problem.
Mhm.
I just,
disengaging that raised deck from the house or lowering it altogether.
Right.
And my only comment in addition to that is, like you said, it's gonna be freestanding, not a ledger board. So whatever posts or foundations are put up against the house, the drawings we have, obviously not correct, but they're showing a footing that extends into the house foundation.
Yeah.
You just need to understand how you intend to get the footings for the posts or whatever you're gonna use to be what's necessary for those posts to sit on.
Yeah, and the correct thing is that, pretty typical deck construction post with tube.
I agree with typical. It's just, we've had two projects before where they were undermining foundations and part of the house
Oh.
collapsed. So
Yeah.
just
Don't-
being
don't
very
need
cognizant
that.
about that.
Yep.
if you do come back, and I assume you are with
Yeah.
further, please show the back wall of the house in relationship to the deck.
The back wall. Okay. You want
Yeah.
like a detail there.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
I don't think there's any, from what I hear, there's no pushback against having an outdoor kitchen of any kind. That seems to be okay. It really comes down to that cross ventilation, making sure that we're getting what's necessary to get through that, keep it dry.
So is it possible to, we had split this originally so we could do the front. Is it possible to split off like the rest of the back, which doesn't change? We've got all the hardscape that goes back by the garage, the path, it's got those raised planters with the limestone. And just leave the patios or the raised
Where
deck.
would you like us to draw the line at?
Probably just right at the steps. That way, anything between the steps and the house, the steps down from the raised patio to the.
Okay, so
deck to the
right,
house.
say right at the south face of the steps?
Yeah.
And everything back there will be one part?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can,
So
Okay.
for clear clarification,
Feels.
basically it's this line.
No, southwood. Yep.
Or
So-
do you want this straight in?
let's just do straight through.
Trade's fine.
New construction is going to affect, Anthony, you know, south or east, west.
Yeah, we can go to B and C.
If I may,
Yes.
just because this is kind of all connected as the pattern, I would recommend just to kind of include this portion for the split. Because if they do start progressing on to the landscaping and patios, they're gonna be done at the same time. But I mean, also, if this is going to be taking for this portion as well, is going to be affected by when that patio is constructed. Yeah. And the ground disturbance there.
Because I
Mark,
think
I'm going to disagree with you.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, I think the area that's east of the deck and everything is going to be part of the construction. They won't have that in.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like in that.
But he wants to get going on everything south.
Yeah.
So I think if we just draw an east-west line and say everything south of that is what we're going to,
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Because I think if you jog it back after the steps,
Planters.
there's raised planters there that were at least in the,
Yeah.
no, above the steps. So.
Yeah, I guess that's also clarification, because these renderings come appear to be representing the site plan as well.
Yeah,
Raised planters still gonna be design or.
And I think that's in the next part to be continued.
Yes, that will be the next. one.
Yeah.
I'm just saying in the site plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
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 and that's-
besides just the elevation, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so that whole corner needs to be
Mhm.
updated. Mr. Chairman, on COA,
Number 3.
yes, 26000094B, 107 East Dexter Street, I moved to split it into Part B and C. Part B will be everything south of an east-west line at the bottom of the stairs.
So before we continue, it will actually be a BA and a BB. That's how we split. I've already split one, so.
All right.
Sense to me.
Okay.
Sorry.
Large case B,
I getcha.
lowercase a.
All right, it will be split to BA and BB.
Yes, or B1, B2, but I think it's a lowercase b and a small case a, just from past split.
So, and the
Okay.
BB will be south of an east-west line at the bottom of the stairs. And BC will be everything north of it.
BA and BB.
BB.
BA, BB. Okay, yes, okay, so BA is everything south of the line, BB is everything north of the line, thank you.
Yes.
That works. Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any questions on that motion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it. Motion passes. On application BA, we have a motion.
Any discussion?
Any discussion on anything beyond the footprint of
No
the deck?
discussion, then.
No.
Mr. Chairman, on COA 260094B little a, I move to approve as submitted.
Second.
Any questions on that motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it. Motion passes. Now on B, big B, little b.
Mr. Chairman, on COA 260094B little b, I move to continue.
Second.
Any questions on that motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it. Motion passes. Thank you much.
Next month.
If you ask us to split it further, we won't. Turn it on before you leave.
Daily dollars.
Yeah, we can't split it anymore.
All right. Move on to item number 4, new application, COA 2600320, 639 Mohawk Street. Welcome back.
Mr. Chairman, I have to recuse myself because of proximity.
Okey dokey. The applicant is already sworn in, so they're still on the record. Staff can go ahead and read it in. Fine.
This is COA 2600320 at 639 Mohawk Street. This is a request for landscaping to replace the curbs along the fronts of the residence with curbs from the city's curb bank, add 2 new tree lawns to match the size and quantity of the property to the north, and to lift the brick and repair the sidewalk base and then relay the existing brick. The commissioners at the business meeting requested clarification on the proposed edge finish for the planting wells. Will the existing brick be restored or damaged brick be replaced? Will removed bricks be retained and stored on site? The commission requested dimensions of the sidewalk between the edge of the yard and proposed planting well. The commissioner is curious if the applicant has any communication with the city forester regarding the new trees or with the Department of Public Service regarding the public right-of-way. If there has been, please submit the documentation. Staff recommends approval of application COA 2600320 with the condition that the final trees are provided to HBO staff prior to issuance of a certificate. And the basis for this recommendation is City Code Section 3116.13, Standards for Site Improvements A, and the German Village Guidelines and Exterior Considerations. And that is all.
Anything else to add?
There was a question at the business meeting about whether there would be a different border pattern in the brick that matches the tree lawns at the home to the north. And that was the intent of the original designer and the homeowner. But, you know, they'll defer to whatever the commission would like.
Do you have the width of the existing sidewalk?
I don't have the total width. It's 4'8" after the tree lawns are added.
You have a 4'8" clear space?
Yeah.
Of walk? after the tree line?
I think that satisfies the 40.
That does,
I
yeah.
guess that's 3-4, so. Yeah, it's 8 foot.
Yeah,
is
the reason
total.
behind
It
it,
just satisfies.
the reason behind it is the city's has a very significant push towards accessibility. And
Right.
ADA guidelines require 48 inches of clear space. We just don't want the homeowner to go about putting in some tree lawns that are going to cause problems. They got to tear out trees later just for the purpose of the homeowner.
And the only other recommendation I would make would be if you could increase the length of the tree lawns just to give a little more space, soil area for those trees, because the ones that you're referencing to the north are really small
Yeah, they are.
for those trees.
And I think that's something that urban forestry, we have not talked to them
Mhm,
about this yet. Typically, they're like, well, when the commission says yes, then let's talk.
mhm.
So we haven't talked to them yet, but usually that's what they'd recommend. Can you give me more space for the tree? Because those are pretty small by current standards for
They
urban
are,
forestry.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have a couple comments on the curbs. If you go to page 5, the application, obviously that one's going to have to be replaced. That's fine.
Mhm.
On 5, what you're seeing here is some bricks turned soldier core style between the walk and the curb due to the curb having towed out, basically,
Yeah.
toppled over. Is the intent to reset those curbs vertical when you're doing this sidewalk work, or are you going to just leave them as?
Yeah, no, we'd reset them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then my request is just to salvage as much as what's there as opposed to tearing it out and then trying to get new from the sandstone curb.
Oh, yeah, if we can reuse pieces or
Great.
cut some off an end and use the rest of it, we would. Yeah,
Sure.
for sure.
And then for the pieces that are missing, there's two kind of spots where the bricks have gone away. Is the intent that when you're creating the tree lawns, those bricks that are being removed from the tree lawn or the planter boxes would be what fills in those missing spots?
Yes, and that should give us enough of that. We also have another client who had a stack of that exact same brick they no longer wanted.
Sure.
And so now we have those, and so
Great.
we have matching bricks if need be.
Fantastic.
Nice, okay.
And as far as the base under the brick on the sidewalk, plans to do a sandstone compacted base?
Yeah.
Okay. The only thing is standard drawing 2301 from the city has the right of way. So as long as you got the right of way approvals, then I'm good with the rest of it.
Do you want to put in like an upper limit to the width of those tree wells?
The tree lines itself.
I was gonna
Corey,
ask
thoughts,
that.
landscaping?
Putting it ahead.
I'd like to see them at least 6 feet in length. 8 would be even better, but then you're opening up a, big area that you'd want to treat with some kind of landscape or. I don't know, Effie, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. So yeah,
6?
that would be great.
Okay. So if the homeowner's like, hey, 8 foot's great, but we don't want to just be mulching one tree, should we submit landscaping to staff?
Final landscaping drawing
Yeah,
staff.
okay.
Yeah, final drawings will have to be submitted anyway for the, change in the 6 feet from 3 to 10 feet, or 3 feet, 10 inches, whatever.
Right. Any other questions? If not, is there a motion?
On item number 4, COA 2600320, 639 Mohawk Street, I move to approve as amended to increase the tree lawn lengths 6 to 8 feet and any landscape ground cover to be submitted also with the drawing.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Thank you.
On to item number 5. Yeah. Item 5, COA 2600321, 576 South 3rd Street. Applicant is already sworn in. Steph?
This is a request for landscaping to replace the sidewalk base and brick on the north side of the property with Belldane Bellcrest 760 brick, to expand the sidewalk to the curb, removing a 1 foot strip, of landscaping beds by street signs and utility poles per the submitted documentation. In the inner courtyard, replace current mulch and stepping stones with mega pet-friendly artificial turf, and to retain the existing landscape bed with courtyard trees. The commissioners at the business meeting requested confirmation of the proposed lawn, whether it would be grass or artificial turf. Dimensions need to be added to the sidewalk on the site plan. The site plan with the lawn needs updated to the correct lawn material. Do the curbs need reset, or is there any proposed curb work? Staff recommendation is approval of application COA 2600321 with the condition that the natural lawn is used and an updated site plan with dimensions is submitted to HBO staff prior to issuance of a certificate. And the basis for this recommendation is City Code Section 3116.13, Standards for Site Improvements, A, and the German Village Guidelines on Exterior Considerations.
Anything else to add?
Again, some comments from the business meeting. One was the area of the sidewalk. It's 5 foot. I, again, submitted some drawings, but too late, so they're not in there. It's 5 foot by 56 foot is the area of the sidewalk that would be adjusted. There was no plans for curb work. The curbs are, okay. So there's one area, like fist size, where it's broken off at the top. The piece is still there, but we weren't planning on doing anything with the curbs. And then the only other comment from the business meeting was just you guys having a discussion about the appropriateness of artificial turf versus natural lawn or something else.
Questions, comments from commission?
My question is, the grade across the sidewalk from the retaining wall to the curb, the brick is going to be at the top of the curb,
Yes.
okay? And then it's going to slope up to the existing grade up there?
Yep.
Okay, so standard drawings
2301.
is, yes, 1.56% is the slope across the sidewalk, which in this case is 1.25 inches.
Yeah.
I don't know how you're going to do that. That being said, when I walk continuously towards the east, the sidewalks there all the way up to Mohawk don't make that either. So I don't know.
That was going
The
to,
concern that there's not enough difference currently, so we can't hit the slope.
Yeah, I think if you're going with on the south side elevation and then sloping down to the curb,
Yeah.
it's the slope's going to get worse.
it's going to exceed the allowable cross slope on the
Oh, you're saying
sidewalk.
it
You have
would
to
exceed
deal
it.
with that
Yeah.
differential
There's-
somehow.
There's some amount of buried stone from that wall, so that side can come down from
Yeah.
where it's at now.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
that
Okay.
would be ideal.
I just know it'll come up in the right-of-way permit request, most likely, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was my concern, just the
Yeah.
cross slope and the fact that it was at the top of the curb and going to do something back.
Right. If you'd like, when we submit final paperwork, we could pop a couple bricks out temporarily and take pictures so you can get an idea of how much extra is
Yeah.
over there.
Sure.
I
And
mean,
whether we can hit
to
the
me,
slope
it's
or
up,
not.
it's going to be the city approval on 1.56 standard or not.
Okay.
But my point to the commission is going east of there, it's not 1.56. It's like 2.5%.
It's indicative of the greater conversation about how do we drive ADA requirements in a historic district and that's already there and trying to get it as
Yeah.
appropriate as possible. So
What you're doing is great. But
Yeah. The artificial turf lawn, any comments, thoughts about that?
I personally don't have a problem with the synthetic turf, given that it's not visible.
Mhm.
It's, it's behind a high fence and it's in their backyard and it's not visible to people walking the
yeah,
sidewalks.
there's no way you can see it.
Agreed.
That's okay
Because-
with me.
We do have at least one case in the village where it is visible.
We
and I would
do.
say it stands out. However,
Mhm.
if you can't see it, I don't have an issue with it. All right. Any other questions or requests for information? If there are none,
Mr. Chairman, on COA 2600321, 576 South Third Street, I move to approve as clarified by the applicant that the sidewalk slope will be from the top of the curb and south towards the retaining wall and in compliance with the city standards as approved by the city.
Second.
We got a second. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you much. Real quick, going back, is there an applicant here for item 2544 South 4th Street? Still none. All right. Item 6, COA 2600209, 216 Reinhardt. If you're settled, if you'll raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
And your name?
Travis Catron.
Thank you much.
This is a request for action for landscaping to replace the existing garage door with a clopay door per the submitted documentation, and to replace the existing handrail like for like. HBO staff updated the agenda to reflect that the windows had already been approved. The application had been separated, so the non-historic windows have already been issued a COA. Commissioners at the business meeting requested confirmation of how many garage doors were replaced. Will it be both or just one? And will the 2 doors be altered into a single door? The commission will need the cut/product sheet of the replacement railing, even if matching existing. The applicant has clarified that both doors would be replaced and submitted updated materials, which have been added to the material packet. Staff recommends approval of application COA 2600209 with any and all clarifications submitted to HBO staff for review prior to issuance of a certificate. And the basis for this recommendation is City Code Section 3116-11, standards for alteration, numbers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, and 12, and the German Village Guidelines for garages and outbuildings.
Anything else to add?
No, sir.
Questions, comments from the commission?
Where have we been with the artificial hardware on these garage doors?
That was one of my questions I asked the commission, the faux hinges.
Yeah.
We typically do not permit the faux hardware, but only the functioning hardware of like the bottom handle just for that use, because that's going to be a functional utilitarian use. So, yeah, that's typically where we stand.
Sorry. I was right.
Yeah, that was one of my comments. The other one was the doors. I will state that it's not the glazing at the top. I know we've had conversations about that. I did go back to some some historic woodworking catalogs from back at this point in time. And glazing at the top panels is pretty typical in some of the styles back then. So I'm not opposed to having the windows at the very top. Any other questions? Handrail replacement. Page 29 of the application is showing the attachment to the wall. Is the intent to just recap it or whole new railing? What are we doing with the railing?
All new railing.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Like for like?
Yep, like for like,
Will you be reattaching to the wall or will it be freestanding?
attached to the wall.
Okay.
In
Will
the same spot?
Exact same spot? Exact same bolt hole?
Exact same bolt.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I just would ask if the applicant would like to remove the faux hardware from your garage door.
Yeah, not a problem.
Refer,
I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, on COA 2600209-216 Reinhardt Avenue, I move to approve as modified by the applicant with the removal of the faux hardware on the garage doors.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it. Motion passes. Moving on to item number 7, COA 2600252-648 South Grant. Once you're both settled, if you'll raise your right hands. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
And your name, sir?
Dominic Lupino, Residential Design Solutions.
Thank you.
Andy Russ, homeowner.
Thank you.
This is a request for action for new construction and demolition to demolish the existing single-story sunroom at the rear of the house and construct a new 2-story addition per the submitted documentation. Is this right?
Sorry.
Hold, please.
Oh. Yes, it is.
It is.
Yes.
This is right.
It is right.
Okay, this is not just the garage.
No.
No.
Okay,
Yeah, we just.
sorry.
Initial step of the process though, so we just.
Reset.
Yeah.
Reset, construct a second-story addition above the existing single portion of the house per the submitted documentation. Add a third-story dormer to the south elevation. To repair the existing wood shutters on the front elevation, demolish the existing cinder block detached garage, and construct a new two-car, single-story wood-frame detached garage per the submitted documentation. The commissioners at the business meeting requested a site plan with the garage as proposed. They requested HBO staff add in the Sanborn maps to determine if the sunroom and garage were historic, and will the faux shutters be removed or replaced. The applicant provided the 1921 to 51 Sanborn map, which has been added to the materials. The sunroom appears to match the footprint of the Sanborn map, but the commission should discuss if the addition is a contributing feature to the house. The county auditor notes that the garage was constructed in 1962. Staff has checked the property file and a new garage was approved in 1965. Commissioners need to discuss if the garage has earned significance as it is older than 40 years old and if its removal is supportable. Staff recommends continuing application COA 26-00252 to allow the applicant time to update the design to better adhere to code and guidelines. And the basis for this recommendation is City Code Section 3116-11, standards for alteration, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. The German Village Guidelines for alterations to existing structures, additions. And garages and outbuildings.
Anything else to add?
Yes, in regards to the sunroom demo, we did discuss this during conceptual review. My contention was that it didn't match the Sanborn map. The footprint of what's there now didn't match it. That it was probably a covered porch of some type originally and had been added on, but there's no record of that. What's shown on the Sanborn map is a different footprint than what is there now. It is, the existing sunroom is flush on both sides of the house, while this one shows an offset on the Sanborn map. And there's no garage on the Sanborn map. That's all the comments I had at this time.
Did the Sanborn make it in the packet?
It did not.
Yeah, it's the first page.
I didn't get it. I mean, I don't,
I downloaded it right before the meeting and it didn't show up, so it's okay. Can you scroll to the top of that picture? Okay. So I think garage first. I think that's one we could tackle. Any issues from the commission on taking down the garage and replacing?
1966 makes it contributing. Don't know how much clearance you've got, but that doesn't prevent you from putting a second bay on the existing garage.
Considering the location of the garage on the lot, we would pretty much have to demo the entire front to relocate the doors to make it fit. There's not enough room on either side.
I'm saying you had a single bay garage
On either side of that,
to the left.
Yeah, no room on either side. And the problem is I have two cars and there's no room on that rust alley to park.
I get that. So my question is, how much room is there between the,
There's 3 foot, 3.16 feet.
It's very tight on both sides.
Yeah.
it's the new garage.
Oh, sorry. We have a existing site plan?
I don't think we did. That's why I couldn't tell.
there's an outline of it. There's approximately
It's still,
3 feet on the one side,
it's closer.
and there's about 6 or 7 feet on the other side.
Not enough.
I will mention,
Sorry, real quick, as we are discussing the garage, I can't remember how Driven Villages at the time, but I know from past garage applications, we typically don't allow one single two-car garage door. It normally has to be divided per guidelines. So that's also just in consideration of the two-car garage. Just
Our guidelines, I'll paraphrase, it does call for 2 single garage doors unless extenuating circumstances, as in the alley's too short, can't get turning radius, the garage can't be set back further to make turning radius, that kind of stuff.
Yes.
That may be one of the problems with this, because the house that was built recently
Mhm.
on the other side of the alley, their garage, they have a 2-car garage and the driveway is almost matching into where this is.
Mhm.
It'd be a really tight turn, especially with people parking on Brust end to end, except for where the driveways are.
Do you know the width of Rust?
It's very narrow. I mean, you could barely get 2 cars past
Mhm.
side by side. And it's just like with the back of the house too, being on Brust. If you sit on the alley or you go down the alley, you can't even see the sunroom. So if the sunroom was taken, I mean, it's not going to affect anything as far as eyesight from the road. It has a lot of exposure on Grant. In fact, it sits furthest out than any of the houses.
It's quite proud on Grant.
So having the 2 doors might be tough, especially since I have a pickup as one of my cars.
The guidelines state that if we do approve a double wide garage door, it should be designed in such a way to mimic 2 single doors,
Okay.
which the current elevation does not do. So I think, but it all hinges on, is there the votes in the commission to demolish existing garage?
I'm no.
I also have an issue too with the garage being there. There's no way to get back to even do anything to construction wise to the house. You can't get any equipment in at all, nothing.
While I understand and sympathize with that, I don't have rear access to my property either. It's a common condition in the village.
I wish I knew before I bought the place,
Um,
because there's really nothing I could do with it the way it is.
My thoughts on the garage, it is 1960s. It's not original. It is within the 40 years as identified in city code for being considered as historic over time. I don't believe, in my opinion, that it has a significant historical nature to it.
You're going down a slippery
It's a
slope.
very slippery slope, I understand.
You
Um,
open up a lot of space that we have denied stuff before by going down this way. I'll just give you a heads up. However, I will make a point. I'm not for taking the garage down. I would have no problem if you put a garage door in the back of that garage because we can't see it.
You mean like a tandem
So you could pull through.
deep, two car deep?
Yep.
Done that.
Or you could pull through. That would also give you access for construction.
I would just say that that would mean demolition of a rather nice landscaped backyard.
That's the sacrifice you'd have to make if you want to park a second car. We don't get all we want all the time.
No, I know, but if we're speaking of true aesthetics and so
Just
forth.
trying to help you out here and get second car on the property.
Goal preservation, of course, is something over 40 or 50 years locally or nationally. It does receive its also significance to the property, even if it's not the same time period.
Yeah.
It shows the different phases of the property. So that's something that's being considered by the commission.
So then say we keep the garage the way it is and move to the other part with the addition.
Sure. For the sunroom piece, we have approved removing sunrooms if they were not the original additions on the house. Is there anything significantly contributing about this? I would say it would be hard for me to justify not taking it down if it's not in the Sanborns.
Neither is the garage. And the Sandbergs only went to a certain point.
Mhm.
And that drop-off date now is contributing goes beyond that date now, so.
Correct. It's also not visible from the public way.
Yes, and I'm trying to think why in the previous conceptuals, we had no problem with it. I think we did say it was okay to take it down.
It's because the footprint didn't match
That
what
was
is
it.
currently there.
Mhm.
It does step back, but it extends significantly further.
And what's there, what's on the Sanborn shows an open sided on the right side, south side.
Yeah.
So it looks as if what was there is no longer there.
Mhm.
And then that brings up another point. If you do a tandem garage, how much of your property you taking up?
That's for you to decide.
That's.
But I
yeah,
mean,
part
isn't
of
there
the-
a,
we'd have to work that out with development cover and so
Yeah.
forth.
can I demo the back so we could at least get through?
Yeah, he said yes.
That would be okay with me. The rest of the commission
Yeah.
may say no, but
Mhm.
that kind of a modification of the garage where it doesn't show up on the alley side and really doesn't change that.
I mean, just for construction.
I'm saying you could put a garage door in or whatever you want to do.
So
I,
past,
I would say not for construction. Nope, but I would say if you're gonna put a garage door in, that's just kind of where I'm at. And maybe I'm wrong.
I feel like that's a
Well, we
slipperier slope.
I would kind of agree.
we've allowed it in the past.
Yeah.
We've allowed a lot of things in the past.
Mhm.
But I think
You just need to justify if you're gonna,
enough.
And we've got much more conscious about being arbitrary and capricious. Which is appropriate.
I don't know that I stand as firmly as you do on the garage being contributing. If it were like the press block or, something that had more historic character, it doesn't feel to me as though it's a contributing structure. It's-
Being on that.
It is of its time and age. That's,
Well, okay.
okay. So part of the problem here is I can remember when people were building garages in the 60s.
Yeah.
So even though it's way in the back, it's on the property line of the village itself.
It is.
Few, if any, people go up and down Brust unless you have a garage on Brust.
And I agree with all that, but it's
The slope,
yeah.
setting a precedent.
Can we slope down side?
You could dig out to the bottom of your garage and put one of those elevators in and get two cars vertically.
Good luck.
Yeah, that's just where I'm at. I can't.
Can I get other people's opinions?
sure.
I'm on board with Theo. It is not necessarily the prettiest garage, but it is still of its time period and it is still in situ, still in place. So
It's kind of like you said, if it had radiused corners, if it had
Mhm.
some kind of, but it is the most utilitarian
Yeah.
CMU. It
Yeah.
is the most utilitarian window. And
it's,
I understand what you're saying.
but it's the catalog home of garages. It's
What if I build the 2-car out of cement block?
No,
I'm
that's not the point.
I know.
Yeah.
It's not,
It's awesome.
it's 60-year-old cement block, so.
It's,
I think we need to be consistent
I-
with how we view, whether a structure is historic significant or not. Like, like other commissioners said, we can't set a precedent and then it will be not fair for other applications.
And I'm probably the most in favor of it, but I will
Mhm.
make the statement that the very first paragraph in garages and outbuildings in the guideline states historically garages and outbuildings were basic and functional in design, intended to be subordinate structures. Garages and outbuildings were modest in scale, made of simple materials and little ornamentation. And that's exactly what Commissioner stated. So
Okay.
I can see that side of it. I don't think you're going to have the votes to get there.
The only ornamentation is stuck on with the brackets on the garage doors and the eagle and horse. That's about it.
So I think it sounds like, based upon the comments so far, the garage is a no as far as tearing down.
If we maintain the existing structure and replace the doors, does it have to have the eagle and the hinges?
Nope.
Nope.
See, that's where I just.
Yeah.
It's applied
So we can
ornamentation.
We can modify
versus-
the design. We just can't delete it and put in a new.
Correct. You're not modifying the bones of it by removing glued on or nailed in ornamentation.
It is, though, pretty much the only thing that you can see.
Yeah.
But it's the massing, it's the roof,
Mhm.
it's the material.
It's the
Okay.
detail.
I just want to, no. That's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that, for the garage, would you want to amend the application to put a door on the rear to give you the access through, or do you want to reconsider the entire garage?
Well,
Need a bit.
It's going up for sale.
okay.
That's where I stand.
Would you like us to consider the rest of the application, or do you want us to
I
continue the
mean,
whole thing?
let's go through and see if we could approve the front, because at least I'll know what to tell whomever
Sure.
they
Sure.
can do, and it was approved.
Okay. All right. So the wood shut, let's start from the very front of the property and work our way backwards. The
Sure.
wood shutters in the front.
They were going to be repaired in as much as possible.
Mhm.
It's very hard for me to know exactly how bad they are
Sure,
without
pretty
me
bad.
removing them. If they would be replaced, they would be custom to match exist.
Do you desire to replace them if you took them off?
It would be nice not to have them if you.
We typically approve taking off shutters that are not operable. They're
Yeah.
faux shutters.
I would say take them off,
The guidelines have make that statement that
Mhm.
faux shutters are inappropriate.
because they are, I mean, see the left top one? So they're in
Yep.
really bad shape.
Sure.
And there's one window on the side, I'm sorry, there's false shutter, there's vinyl shutters on the one side
Mm-hmm.
that we would remove.
Removal of all the shutters and call it a day.
Yes.
I'm just curious, did anybody get a COA on that? The one picture you could see that was just painted black with the lime green door?
What?
I couldn't tell you at this point.
It's not this
I
application.
mean, that's not my application, but you know, if somebody's got to get a COA and they're denied, why isn't everybody? What do you do if somebody finds out he doesn't have a COA?
If it was done at COA, that's 301 request that goes to code, to Columbus Code.
Yeah.
They're the enforcement agency.
Because it just seems not everybody down there. I've been down here since the 80s, and I'll tell you, not everybody follows
Agreed.
the
No.
road.
A lot of folks get caught.
And it's
Wow,
very
full stop.
upsetting, but
Yeah, they got to order and they got to fix it or wait to fix it before
Agreed.
they can sell it.
The third story dormer to the south elevation. Adding a dormer. We have the drawing for that, yeah.
There you go.
So the dormer on the north is existing, correct?
Correct. That was in order to get a bedroom into the space.
Is there a reason for having the shed dormer versus typical, to one to match the other side?
Well, size.
Okay.
In order to get a gable type roof, it would be a very, very low sloped. And in order to keep it underneath the house ridge and have the width that we need for it to be a bedroom.
Understood. It is at the far rear of the roof, which is what we typically ask for. It is kept to a minimum size, it's not overly the entire length, which is what we asked for. I would not have an issue with that myself.
I think my only concern with it is its proximity to the existing chimney. It wraps around it. If you go to page 19.
But we had to keep the chimney.
Yes. But the new dormer roof is wrapping around it. Yeah.
Well, I can minimize the overhang on the rake if you'd like.
Do you think that's a problem?
Have a 0 overhang on the rake.
It's full, it's wrapping it by a good, probably 4 or 5 inches.
Okay.
Can it be separated? Is it driven by the interior window or doorway?
Move it more towards the front.
I mean, I think you would like it to be detached from, like not touching the chimney, right?
I think you're gonna create a maintenance issue.
I think that creates a problem,
Yeah.
having a small gap in between.
I just
We've
wanted to make
got
sure it
gaps
was
that people
brought
can't
up.
maintain now.
Right.
I just want to make sure it was brought up.
Yep.
If the rest of the commission's fine, yeah.
It doesn't bother me if it's just the eve that's
Okay.
actually covering it, if the rest of it's open.
I think I'm okay with it, as long as the
Yeah.
flashing's done right.
Yeah.
And then my only question was the top of the dormer, is it significantly below the ridge?
I agree with you. I don't think it is.
It looks like it needs to be lowered a little bit.
That's more a function of my software. It
Okay.
meets structurally right at the top. There's a ridge vent that's part of the design software that's kind of showing the house roof a little proud. It would be even with the ridge of the
Supposed
house.
to be
It
lower.
needs to be below the ridge.
Oh, you want it dropped? I'm sorry.
You dropped it. Because you guys.
I should have
mentioned
dropped
that on the first time. I
Okay,
think.
no, I
Yeah.
can easily do that. I can adjust the slope of the
Yeah.
shed to
Yeah,
drop it.
usually like a 8-inch vertical drop from the ridge to the new.
No, that's my fault. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
You just kind of want to get, if it's a vented ridge, you're going to want to get below that vent. Basically.
Yes,
Yeah, it's a part of the German Village guidelines of that spacing between the ridge and the top of the dormer.
And then as far as the window in that dormer, everybody okay with the window style proposed? Kind of matches the rest.
it's a casement in order to meet egress requirements.
Understood. All right, and then we're on to the second story addition and the 2-story addition replacing the sunroom.
The less concerned about the 3-part window. So we brought that up last time.
So typically,
That is a closet area. I'd be happy to do whatever arrangement or you feel is correct. I just wanted to get as much light into the space as possible.
regarding the windows, the fenestration, so massing material details. Alter 1, typically good, alter 2, sometimes alter 3, never. The window ratios don't seem to match any other window ratios on the property currently. So the first floor of the elevation, kind of squatty, second floor tall and narrow, and now we're adding these other style, so there's not a consistency.
The closest I would say is the front elevation of the house at the gable, the attic space. But that's fine. I have no
Yeah, I think
problem with that.
if you get more consistency, then that allows the,
Yeah, I
the
would
form
probably
to
match
be
the lower
deviation.
level.
Yeah.
I would probably match the first floor. Then.
and the triple opening on the second floor addition in the center there. I think, to me, more appropriate to have 3 separate Or any other thoughts from the commission on what should be there?
Pair to match the first? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you wanted to center it in that elevation right there, correct?
Correct.
It's fairly removed and unrelated to everything else, so I'm not sure it's bad.
That wall is set back from
Yeah.
the first floor wall.
Kind of goes along with the vernacular trend of a lot of the houses in the village.
So you're saying you're good with the
Ethan,
triple?
are you okay with it, or?
I don't prefer the triple. I think something maybe more akin to what's shown on the other side or right below it. Yeah.
I think
Nah.
you're just trying to get a little bit of consistency as being just a bunch of hodgepodge sizes.
Especially with that mullion pattern or mountain pattern.
Aside from the windows, is there any other comments or concerns with the additions as proposed?
Don't have any.
Not that we haven't already discussed.
Anything else? So we stand. What would you like us to do? We can,
I just want to get some kind of plan because last time we were here, I think one of the ladies had mentioned about the windows and everybody approved that they were fine if we did them this way. So now we did them this way and now we want to do two separate.
I was not here for that. So if that was
No,
a
that's
statement
what I
made,
said. I
then
think one of
so
the
be it,
ladies
yeah.
had mentioned. I
Yeah.
just don't want to keep, this has been almost
No,
a year. for
Understood.
me.
No, it's
Understood.
understood.
I just noted that from the last one, there was concern about the three-part window.
If the commission is good with the rest of the windows, then so be it.
So which windows, I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I'm clear. Which windows did you have a comment? Mr.
My
Mayor?
concern is just me,
Yeah.
is on the addition, every window that's there is a different size, shape compared to the rest of the property.
I
a
thought
hodgepodge
that was
sizes.
what was,
And if that's the intent of the
Yeah.
commission, and so be it. I'm one vote on a board of
Okay.
5.
I just wanted to see
You know,
if I
if-
misunderstood, I was,
Construction room?
If that's the case, sure.
Okay.
What'd you say?
That the window fenestration in the addition is different than the existing original house because it is an addition, it sets it apart.
Yes.
My opinion is massing materials details.
Yeah.
Materials are changing.
Mm-hmm.
The details, the window openings are changing.
Mhm.
Styles are changing. And massing wise, this is not the traditional pitched roof that we see on the rest of the property.
Mhm.
So all three are being changed, altered.
So one
That's why.
time the addition did have a really big pitched roof and we commented that that probably was not appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then is everybody good with what is there currently?
My concern is the three-part windows. I think the rest of it, I'm passively okay with it.
Okay. Same?
Yeah.
Any issues with 3-part windows?
I
No?
don't.
Yeah, I'm okay with the windows.
You've got 3 of 5. You got the votes.
so I would recommend, I would ask if we could table the garage portion of this application
Sure.
and move for approval of the house addition.
Sure.
You can split it.
We can split it in 2.
Split, or do you want us just to take the garage out?
That's going to be up to him.
I mean, if I can't do it anyway, I think making it tandem is gonna eat up too much of the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And the little lady that had the house put a lot of time and love into that backyard.
Sure.
I like it the way it is. It just needs
Sure.
cleaned up a lot, but.
Mm-hmm.
So for processing, processing standards, we would probably recommend just to continue that, like, to split the application so that garage portion will be continued on to next month if new materials are submitted. If we do remove it from the application, a new application will need to be submitted for the garage. So that would just be from our processing standards on that. So just to help you on your,
It's more advantageous.
yeah, because it will continue into next month with new materials and stuff. You won't have to go through the whole process of
And to
submitting
be
new and
fair,
things
I
like
don't
that.
believe we've ever talked about the garage before tonight.
You're correct.
Yeah.
This was added on after the
After the
conceptual.
last.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
This
Okay.
makes more sense.
There we go.
Sorry to throw that.
It's-
So we can deal with
Read
it.
a lot.
Mr. Chairman, on COA 2600322 240 East Livingston Avenue, I moved to split it into two parts. I'm doing this for ease of description. Part A will be the garage piece, and Part B will be the remainder of the application.
I think that's.
Wrong, you're wrong.
You're on the wrong one.
Some
Item
writing.
7.
Sorry if I got you upset.
Item
I just
7.
moved your house to Livingston. I hope you don't mind.
Can I get a variance?
You might,
Yeah,
yeah, more
absolutely.
space in your back.
So I'm trying to help you here, bud. Okay, on COA 26002, I apologize, 252-648 South Korean Avenue. I moved to split it into Part A and Part B. Part A will be the garage portion of the application, and Part B will be all of the other items.
Second?
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it. Motion split. Application split. Is there a motion on item A, which is the garage?
Mr. Chairman, I still move on item COA 2600252, Part A to continue.
Second?
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it. It's continued.
Let me make sure I get this right. On item COA 2600252, Part B, which is the remainder of the application, shutters are removed. The dormer will be below the ridge, and those are the only two up.
And one additional item, I know I see in the rendering, just real quick, the commission would like to add this. The rendering does include, of course, like the patio and things like that with landscaping, but there hasn't been an official landscaping plan submitted. So just for a future landscaping plan to be submitted separately and things like that.
Yeah, basically where all that brick is, there is a house that sits right adjacent to the other side of that sidewalk. So
Mhm.
there isn't anything. She has a little bit of ivy that's growing,
Okay.
but that's it.
But I will say, because it's not a part of this application at this time in the site plan, it will need to be submitted separately. So just if the commission would like to add that
So
on.
just stay the way it is.
Yeah, so for clarification, any landscaping indication is not part of the application.
Just landscaping. Or hardscaping, so yeah.
Yep. Everything else as is.
Yep, except for the ridge and the shutters.
Okay.
Okay, clarification on that.
So we got a motion. Is there a second?
Second?
All right. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Aye. Ayes have it. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
All right. Moving on to item before we go to item 8, is anybody here for item number 2? 544 South 4th Street? None. All right, on to item 8. One second, COA 2600315, 195 East Sycamore Street. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth? And your name?
Reynolds, Every U.S. 172 states,
Thank you.
This is a request for action for exterior building alterations to install a CHI steel door measuring 12 feet wide by 7 feet high per the submitted documentation, and the proposed texture is wood grain. The commissioners at the business meeting requested staff double check the proposed garage door material and ensure it's accurately reflected on the agenda. The applicant clarified that the door is a flush, smooth steel door. Staff recommends approval of application COA 2600315 with the condition that a light texture is used on the steel garage. The basis for this recommendation is City Code Section 3116-11, standards for alteration, numbers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, and 12, and the German Village Guidelines on garages and outbuildings.
All right, good. Anything else to add?
We have a garage door that no longer works, so we can't open it. It's deteriorated, so we need a new garage door. And we've been working with staff to come up with an appropriate garage door. It will be steel flush. And the only thing we want to make sure is that we're all sure of light texturing. And we can work with staff, but we've submitted a couple of different wood grains or texturing. They provide us with a couple of different looks on the doors that we've looked at with staff. We've looked at a co-play and chai in terms of the door types and their texturing.
Questions, comments from the commission?
What's there now? What's the door now?
It's a
Do you have a picture of
it's a
it?
wood,
Oh, okay,
fiberglass, and not even fiberglass.
just wood.
A recessed panel.
Fiberboard.
Fiberglass.
Okay.
It's not, hasn't held up well.
And the new door's paneled?
We were asked to do, it's just a flush steel door.
Okay, not like
A
that?
panel. I mean,
No.
Okay.
You said flush, I do believe,
Okay.
Oh.
with texture.
Yeah, I think I saw,
We work with the commission. We just want a new door. It doesn't work right now.
Mm.
so I had sent in my emailed comments from the business meeting. CHI does make a recessed panel, not the raised panel like this. So it looks like the previous door. If it has some light dimpling, I think we've had the conversation before. They don't make a smooth, baby butt smooth panel because of oil canning and everything else. You guys have structure to the panel. So minimal dimpling is the preferred. But I did note that CHI has flush and also the recessed panel. What's there currently, that door is the raised panel, which we have been pushing back against from a historic perspective.
That's why it's discussed about flush door
Sure.
with some type of texturing across it, so it's stopping oil tank.
Since we don't have that in the application materials, since we don't have that here in front of us, what's there? Are we good with what's shown there with the flush smooth steel inside the door?
Yeah, it's just a horizontal panel with a little.
Yeah.
like-
Yeah, we need to zoom in a little bit. Let's see.
yeah.
So the page 11, that's the smooth finish. I was confused. Is that a smooth finish? That one?
That's their minimal.
They
It's a
call it
minimum.
smooth,
Okay, even,
but it's dimpled a little bit.
okay.
It doesn't have the panels on it. It's
Okay.
just the way you look at it.
Has the commission stand on that texture on a flat door?
I don't love that texture, but I mean, given that, we try to get a smooth door, but if that's the minimum that you can get in a steel door, then
We got
Yeah,
stuff
I think-
all over. They're so,
yeah.
One was approved on Beck 2 years back, I
Yeah.
believe. It's not egregious. It's not great, but
we've
Mark
got
does.
everything from this is the simplest, probably basic door you could probably get,
Mhm.
all the way to aluminum frames with glazed panels, so.
I'm not a huge recess of texture. so-
Yeah. So as applied for is good?
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, I will move on COA 2600315, 195 East Sycamore Street, Mr. Fitzpatrick, as applied for.
Second.
any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
I,
Against? Aye. The first ayes have it, motion passes.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Before we jump into item number 9, is there item number 2 here, the 554 South 4th Street? Going once, going twice. All right, on to item 9, COA 2600322, 247 East Livingston.
Yeah, I think so.
And once you're settled, if you raise your right hand. Oh, we got a couple more. Yep. All right. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, but the truth? Okay. Your name? Thank you. Thank you. Steph?
This is a request for action for new construction and demolition to demolish a two-story brick structure to retain a modified two-story Italianate brick structures. Retain current parking lot access at 245 East Livingston Avenue, to construct a mixed-use building facing East Livingston Avenue with a residential building facing East Blankner Street per the submitted documentation. Buildings along East Livingston will blend stone and solid brick masonry on the first floor with materials such as durable composite siding and panels on the upper levels. Third story to be set back from the first two. Building height will not exceed 36 feet. The building along East Blankner Street will be set back from the right-of-way to accommodate landscaping and planting buffers. The style will be row housing with openings for parking. The second floor will be brick facades with other siding materials and the third story setback. The following is taken from the December 3rd, 2025 German Village Commission hearing minutes. Commissioners expressed concern over the proposed lot splits and how they might disrupt the historic value of individual parcels. Surrounding the historic buildings with taller buildings could disrupt their historical significance. Commissioners expressed concern over the new development overwhelming the historic structures with massing and noted the proposed lot coverage was higher than typical. Commissioners suggested reviewing the material and fenestrations on the third and fourth floor, noting what is currently proposed is inappropriate. The rhythm of German Village should be respected. Commissioners expressed concern over green space and noted the development would decrease the potential capacity for future green space. Commissioners strongly encourage the applicant consider revisions to the proposed landscape and identify more appropriate trees. Commissioners suggested green space or rooftop gardens on flat roof sections. Commissioners at the business meeting requested better communication of the property plats. Commissioners asked the following: are the material style for the garage doors updated drawing or cut/project sheet would be appreciated? Are the first floor windows supposed to be at the floor elevation? Discussion may include if the door should have a transom and if windows should align at the top. What are the materials for the exterior sidewalks? Has stormwater runoff been looked at? Ooh. Does the existing restaurant utilize a rollout dumpster? And if so, how will this be addressed? Will lot splits combinations be addressed in a later application? And where is the accessible entrance? HBO staff appreciate the design team's changes to the proposal and note that the design has addressed many of the commissioner's comments. The design is appropriate for construction on Livingston Avenue and appropriately blends typical neighborhood development patterns with modern construction. The design addresses the commissioner's comments from the last review with a reduced height of only 3 floors, reduced programming, updated materials, and more green space. Overall, HBO staff find the design to be appropriate and that the design sensitively treats the existing conditions on the parcels. Ultimately, the design meets the German Village Guidelines and City Code. Specifically, the German Village Guidelines emphasize that new construction should observe the overall rhythm of the building spacing on the block. New construction recommendation 4. Both Livingston Avenue and Blankner Alley elevations carefully considered the surrounding blocks and typical distribution of structures in the village. On Livingston, the applicant has designed appropriate infill structures around the existing historic and non-historic structures with minimal alterations. The mix of appearances matches the typical development along Livingston Avenue, with both residential and more commercial styles of structures, compliant with City Code Section 3116.12 A, C, D, K, L, and M, and the GV Guidelines for new construction recommendations 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. On Blankner, the applicant has limited the number of roof pitches and building facades to follow neighborhood patterns and has alternated appropriately between gables and flat roofs, which is compliant with City Code Section 3116.12 A, D, K, and M, and the German Village Guidelines for new construction recommendations 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. The proposed materials at the rear also vary to break up the overall facade and has been placed appropriately away from the property line, to allow for more space for cars and pedestrians on Blinkner, compliant with City Code Section 3116.12 A and E, and the German Village Guidelines for New Construction, recommendations 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. HPO staff also note that the materials and colors are appropriate. Staff recommends approval of application COA 2600322 with the following conditions. Windows should be from the approved windows list prior to issuance of a certificate, and light fixture cut/project sheets should be submitted to HPO staff prior to issuance of a certificate, and the fixture should be no larger than 12 to 15 inches in height, depending on location. And the basis for this recommendation and the applicable code and guidelines are Title 34 of the Zoning Code, A 10040, applicability of Title 31, City Code Section 3116.12, standards for new construction, A, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, and N. City Code Section 3116.13, standards for site improvements, A and B. City Code Section 3116.14, standards for demolition. The German Village Guidelines for new construction, and the German Village Guidelines for new construction materials.
All right. Anything else to add?
Yeah, we'd like to just add.
Yeah, hit the button real quick so the light turns green. There you go.
Testing, okay. Can you hear me, Rosalie?
Stay close to the mic, we can.
Okay. Absolutely. So it's been a long 6 months since we've been here. Last we were here was in December, and by no means were we pencils down. We've been spending that time intensely cataloging every single comment we've heard from the commissioners, from the residents, from the folks at the society. And today we have a really complete overhaul of what we've had over the previous several submissions. We're really proud of what we have here today. And I think by the normal crowd also not being here today, I think that also speaks volumes just of how much we've worked with the residents to get to a place that we feel like this project is a win-win for not just us, but for the members of the community. We've had the pleasure of going to Mayfest just last week. It was a wonderful event focused around preservation. And, it was just another great opportunity for us to get to know the members of the community. And we were on site yesterday just as well, talking about a few other components. And we feel we're really at a good spot. Today, the project we have here today is really a culmination of all the feedback we've gotten. There's quite a few hard conversations we've had to have internally to try and make this work for everyone, but we really feel we've gotten here with the excellent design from Berardi and his team. We can go ahead and just start from the top with the renderings. We'd like to walk you through the project, really.
Just let me know what page.
Yeah.
Let me know.
Just the first rendering. We're all familiar with the conditions by now, I'm sure. Yeah, we can stop here. So, I'll just touch on high level before we start really coming through the renderings. To address the elephant in the room, the fourth story, it's gone. We heard the feedback. We want a project here. The height of the project now is at or below the surrounding structures. That was a key moment we had to have as a team to propose something that the commissioners really felt passionately about. The project previously was 67 units. We're down to 51 units, and we've actually increased the parking. Not that that's a pertinent scope matter for the commission, but from 38 parking spaces to 61. We've been able to achieve that by keeping the bendy parking lot, we'll call it how it is, and removing a structure from there. You'll also notice that we have two separate structures. The building you see here on Livingston is its own structure. We felt that was far more in line with the surrounding adjacent structures and provided that more pedestrian feel and touched on the rhythm that, again, the commissioners have mentioned was not there. We felt that was a great adjustment. As we go around, as the renderings progress, really, we're going really east and around the project, and we're also going around the project at different times of the night and day. Can you actually stay on that
Yes.
rendering up there? Yeah. This is one of my favorite shots, really, because we focused on this area as being what we felt as a courtyard for the project. So if you'll notice, we've included a very detailed landscape plan. We heard the commissioners, that was a key focus. Obviously something that matters for German Village, how landscaping ties into the community. And this area, you'll notice quite a few columnar trees as, again, what were recommended, and a real presence behind it. The building is now set back, and you have mature trees, and you have a really strong focal point here visually that we feel blends in very well. And you can keep going now. So here we have really what is a promenade really for pedestrians to access the building. They will take this brick sidewalk to sort of the center of the elevation, and that's where the main lobby would be. We were asked where is the accessible entrance. You would take this through to get there. This was also another opportunity we felt to add passageways for the community. I mean, just on site. Yesterday, one of the nearby residents said some of the favorite parts of German Village is when they're dog walking and, you know, they look through an area or a neighborhood and there's an opportunity to go explore. We felt this was a good opportunity to do that. Again, not just for the future residents, but the residents in the area as well. This is the view on 6th Street in Blankner. Before our previous submissions, we were trying our best to hide the 4th story. Now we're here showing you how you can barely see the 3rd story. Our inspiration behind the sort of building modules is the German Village row houses. So row houses that you would see on Lozelle and 4th and Thurman. We really took our design cues for massing from there. Spent a great amount of time detailing, adding brick corbelling, things of that nature. That's really months and months of time to get that absolutely right. Same with the windows and the proportions. I'm sure as the commissioners can appreciate, what may feel simple, you know, also has great detail to it. So we've simplified things. And we really think, especially with the inspiration we got from the row houses, that this is more of an appropriate massing and facade and detailing. And keep going. So here's the view as you continue to go westbound on Blankner. Again, landscaping being a very important aspect to this. And the pedestrian experience, of course, being a key component as part of the landscaping. Keep going. Here's what essentially your view will be if you're going northbound on Cedar Alley. Really, one of the key points of feedback was incorporating the element of the hyphen. And you'll see here where you have the arch and the robust landscaping. Here's we felt like that was an opportunity to make really it feel like a connection of multiple buildings rather than one long building. So you'll of course see the fenestration, the setback go in and out, but you also see different types of hyphens so that the pedestrian experience, you're never really feeling as though it's one large building. Again, nice shots at different times of the day. Here we have a night shot looking at the corner of Dixon and Blankner here. I think we're all familiar with Blankner. It's not an easy place to walk or drive. The existing conditions are very difficult. The existing theater causes a very severe pinch point. It encroaches into the right-of-way. We are setting back the building providing ample landscaping and pedestrian refuge there. And I think we're really improving the situation there. You'll see just a handful of private garages for future residents as well, that will service Dixon. You can keep going and you can stop at this rendering. I think this is a great shot because you really struggle to actually see where the new construction is. You know, before we, you know, as best as we tried to hide it, there was a 4th-story cap that really sat on top of the whole project. And I think we have a project today that respects the rhythm, and you can hardly really tell from this angle where the new project begins and the existing structures stop. And I think it's really been blended in nicely. So I'll let George, if you had anything else to add.
Well, I'll tell you, Kareem, I mean, I checked off everything that I had, and you know, you did a wonderful job explaining. I mean, I started with talking about the building height, the density, the parking. We can back up a little bit on the parking by suggesting that in the passageway from the Bendy parking lot, which really provided a real boost for us in terms of density for serving our population, but it also serves Bendy's needs, and there's ample space there to serve our needs for visitors parking as well. And I think that one of the key elements that was responded to from a comment that was made by staff was, where is the accessible entrance? There really are two. One of them, of course, is within the garage, in the middle of our garage where the elevator location is. But the other one is from the outside. So that's well taken care of. I guess I'm trying to figure out here where, you know, we can go next with this, but, you know, one of the important things, you know, that happened, you know, on this project in terms of, you know, looking at everybody to help us, we brought Realm on for landscape architecture, really helped define some of the green spaces, not just as you see them there, but emphasize them from the standpoint of really the building edges all around are treated in this at this iteration anyway. I think there are like maybe 15 sheets of details that Realm has provided, together with types of landscaping. It seems as though we're foresting a 50 or 100 unit project out there, but, you know, I guess that, you know, the emphasis was the type of trees and plantings that we're really trying to provide should work well with the project. In other words, I think what ends up happening at the end of the day is we have a building that's new, and we'll have mature plantings that will appear to be a new project, not a new project, but a project that's been there for a while. That's really the intent here. We want to go from, you know, from nothing to something that's really, truly complete. You know, I was going to point out some other things on the alley, in fact, on Blinkner, where by setting a building farther back, we really emphasized really the distance between us and the public way. So that really helps us a great deal in terms of, you know, better access for all of us. Some of the other items I guess we can talk about is we really try to stay with a massing module here that really responds to the guidelines, you know, with the road type, you know, emphasis that, as Kareem has mentioned. The image really portrays it really quite well. And the one thing that we talk about is, you know, what are some of the other characteristics that, you know, really make the project? Really, we took to heart the guidelines, details that are in the guidelines, and embedded the guidelines as part of the project, whether it's the corbelling, the cornices, the way I mean, there are details really that I don't want to say we copied them, but we really try to emulate what was there. And I mean, you see some of them exactly copied from the guidelines, exactly as they are. So, I mean, we've made every effort to really respond in kind to both density, massing, detailing for again, responding to the guidelines. Um, That's pretty much what we can talk about more details, but I think that as questions come about, I mean, I saw the one sheet at the last sheet. We've included for your review, some construction sheets indicate how the buildings would actually be detailed, how details would, be part of this project.
Yeah, and if I may add one interesting metric that we measured, we measured the existing green space on the site and what we're proposing, and we're actually increasing the green space by 20% of what exists today. So that, I think, was a statistic when we evaluated that. We were really proud of that. So, and that's actually just what you see on the first floor. There's actually a page, it might be one or two above, but we've gone vertical with our green space as well. Our terraces, yeah, we have live terraces on the second story and third story, and those will be irrigated and maintained by us. And as a measure of course, needing rooftop access, we've included a rooftop garden as well. So that I think continues the emphasis that green space is very important to us, existing residents and future residents as well.
It really points to, even though the landscaping, even the landscaping on the terraces really speaks to an established development rather than, again, something that is planted, is growing, it's going to be there someday, it's going to look like the rest of the community. No, this is going to look that way from day one, really. And the landscaping together with, the maintenance of that landscaping is something that's going to be critical and crucial to this project. One of the other things that we should mention, Kareem, in terms of the passageway from the visitor parking on over to the accessible entrance is really, that will be a monitored entrance, one, but we will also have surveillance in that area to make sure that, to ensure really the security of the property and the project and residents. I think we can address, your questions and image, especially based on images and the planning that we provided at this point.
Okay, great. Thank you. Before we get to the commission, we'll take the 3 speaker slips that we have. As a reminder, when speakers come up, this is only 3. We'll ask you to swear, raise your right hand, swear in. We'll take 4, sorry. Ask you to swear in, ask for your name, and then you'll have 3 minutes to give your remarks. So the very first one will be Rosalie Goodsell. I'm going to take the mic up there.
I don't know.
Take the
Neither-
the top tip can flex up and down. There you go. If you'll raise your right hand, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and the truth.
I do.
And your name?
Rosalie Goodsell.
Thank you very much. Yours.
My name is Rosalie Goodsell. I live at 314 Jackson Street in Sherman Village. Lived in Sherman Village since 1962. I own the double across from Cedar Square. Some may be ready to accept this plan, but they don't have a dog in the fight. I want to preface that the developers have worked mightily over the years, and I appreciate their intent to make Cedar Square work for the German Village community. They have been most gracious in listening to our concerns. I think it's fair to say they are faced with trying to put a square peg in a round hole. The narrowness of Blinkner and Dixon is most troubling due to the 10-foot narrowness of the alleys and it has a lot of negative and safety impacts, which will be addressed by another person that hopefully will be here tonight. His name is Michael Evans. My concerns are still the following: that black hard massing off of Livingston is troublesome. The rear is long, stretching almost a city block with buildings jutting up seemingly out of nowhere. Residents who live on the south corner of Blinkner and Cedar get more relief across the alley due to a parking lot. It seems to me the relief should be where there's little or no setbacks, such as the corner of Blinkner or Dixon. The wall is literally in my front yard. The third story, even though it sets back, will reduce the light and will enhance more of the canyon feel that one already feels in parts of the existing alley because of the narrowness of the alley. Residents walking their dogs to Bendy's, the kitchen, or Starbucks are being denied the pedestrian feeling one gets in the rest of the community. The planned wall is simply not pedestrian relatable due to its imposing scale. The Livingston facade is much better, but I'm still troubled by the hard connections in the background, the lack of being broken up. Maybe think neighborhood lunch downtown at the corner of 4th and Gay. I think we can agree the village is about charm, scale, and walkability. It's our brand, and we're losing it due to the editing of slate roofs, sandstone curbs, AD ramps with concrete pours, and parking signs throughout. It's important to get this development right, to add and not detract. Now that the fencing and greenery has been removed from around the freeway, German Village has been laid bare to see from a distance and suddenly more inviting. I hate to see a precedent of 3 stories disrupting the inviting gateway, the quaint view along the Livingston corridor. The 3rd floor should be removed to avoid the canyon effect that denies light. Create some human scale homes with open relief between units on Blinkner to enhance the pedestrian experience, somewhat like we see on Livingston. There are no 3-story homes anywhere on the north or south side of Blinkner.
I'd like to mention the 3 minutes
Or even
are
the
up at this
surrounding neighborhood. We're at an inflection point. The decisions
Rosalie.
you make tonight are forever.
Rosalie, you're at 3 minutes.
I'm through.
You're past 3 minutes.
What?
You're over 3 minutes.
2 seconds over?
A little higher. Thank you.
I was through.
All right, the second speaker, Heidi, I can't read last name. Thank you.
A12 for me? Yes. Thank you.
You'll raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and the truth?
I do.
And your name?
Heidi Horenza, 518 South Fifth Street.
All right, once we get the page pulled up, then we'll start your time.
Do you know what page it is by chance?
It's this one.
I don't,
It's in the rendering packet. It's like 3rd, 2nd from the end.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Is that the one you're looking for?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay. You've heard me talk before. I don't need to go back over some of my things. I wanted to give the developers credit. Can you hear me? Hold on, I'll pull this down here. I want to give you guys credit. You have been working with the neighborhood, and I think this design is vastly improved over what we've seen in the past. However, I still have great concerns about what's going on Blinkner and Dixon. This is the view at Dixon and Blinkner. And I would just like to point out that there are some issues with the visuals that you're seeing here that are not representative of what's actually in that alley. So for example, on the right-hand side, where the south side of Blinkner is illustrated there, that does not include the steps and access points to the houses that are on the south side of Blinkner. And you can also see in this image that there's a curb outside of the utility poles. And as it stands now, the dimensions of that alley are not correct, especially given what is currently there if they're not moving those utility poles. That curb will come in additional feet. This is just not correct, and it does not include the south side of the alley. So what you're seeing there is not a correct representation of what that alley actually looks like. And I encourage you to bring this back to see what's actually there, because that's not correct. Anyway, I still have great concerns about the massing and height on Blinkner. This is a residential alley, not just an alley. It's not a throwaway visual for German Village, and this is the gateway to our historic neighborhood. I have great concerns about this being a footprint that takes up the entire block. I know we've gone into these issues multiple times, but I still have concerns that that footprint is the entire block, and that there's kind of this pastiche of things hatched onto a spine of the building. I'm also concerned that in this image, on the left-hand side, you can't see that trash pickup is on that side, the restaurant, for the kitchen, all of their dumpsters and all of our trash pickup is on that side. So there is a significant amount of alley space that is in current use for trash pickup, that there's no space on the kitchen lot for them to have trash pickup anywhere else but in that alley. So that's all currently there unless they're planning on having them move their trash cans. That is all in the right of way as well and will limit turning radius. The images of these alleys are not correct. I don't think they have a turning radius that will fit there. And I hope you will consider these comments as you evaluate this application. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next speaker, I'm gonna go with Mike Evans. And if you raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and the truth?
I do.
And your name?
Mike Evans. I live at 243 East Blinkner Street.
If you want to pop the microphone down, and then you're good to go.
Can you hear me now? Better? Okay. All right. Well, there have been clear efforts to improve the front-facing design of the proposal. My main concerns still are particularly as they relate to Blinkner and Dixon. As the group that I've been meeting with had also said, I do give the developers credit. They came out yesterday, they talked to us. We were able to, voice some of our concerns. But the improvements do not adequately address the fundamental issues of massing, density, and most importantly to me, traffic and safety along the corridor. The physical constraints of Dixon are significant. Others have gone over that. For context, a typical SUV is 6 feet wide. The shortest point in Blinkner is 9 feet. So that math doesn't work for two-way traffic. In terms of scale, this proposal far exceeds what currently exists in the neighborhood. It is more than twice the size of a comparable development, such as Schmidhoff, which has 24 units. There is no existing project in German Village that approaches this scale. The massing along Blinkner is particularly concerning. It's a continuous block, 330 feet, along that narrow corridor. This is a real safety risk for people and residents, pedestrians, cyclists, and others. We had to move out of the way about 15 times yesterday when we met with the developers, so they understand the ramifications as well. But to put that in perspective, this will not adequately and safely accommodate the traffic and the pedestrian movement. Currently, two parking lots do provide some degree of flexibility. The vehicles are able to maneuver and get out of the way of the streetscape. This flexibility would be lost for 330 feet on an entire block. So this leads to a broader question. What precedent are we setting with this? As stewards of German Village, we have a responsibility to ensure that new developments align with the established character and scale of the neighborhood. I also want to reference some prior input that I've received. This was back in 2019. We've all been working on this for a very long time from the Division of Traffic Management. I sent email to the GVS. So if you could distribute that to the commissioners, I would appreciate it. It kind of goes through the conversation back and forth. It was about 3:45, so it might be in the inbox still. But so from so the Division of Traffic and Management noted that the accommodating project of this scale may require significant infrastructure changes, which includes additional right-of-way, modifications, and also support or burying the utility poles. So to support the two-way traffic. So given these realities, the traffic flow, pedestrian safety must be central to future discussions. I'm willing to discuss this with you. I'm willing to go to the city with you all. I mean, we've tried to work with them before. So thank you for my time.
And real quick, before we move on to the next speaker, just to clarify, German Village Society is not our entity. We're German Village Commission. So if you send it to the society, that's a different email
It was on the website, whatever the website is for today's meeting, I use that.
Okay, so if it's the commission, if it's GVC at Columbus, okay, that's fine. I just was like, if it went to GBS, we will not get it. No, you're fine.
And the fourth speaker, I'm sorry, I can't read the name, but you're good.
I have bad handwriting. My office has made me key my emails and everything else possible for many years because
It's all good.
I
Raise
should
your right
have gone
hand.
to medical school. I guess it would have been fit, right?
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, but the truth?
Yes, sir, I do. Thank
Your
you.
name?
My name's Gretchen Mode. I live at 734 South 6th Street. And I would reiterate several of my fellow residents' concerns about the density and the scale. This project does not meet the German Village guidelines. I know you all have been here a long time, since about 4 o'clock, and I appreciate all your dedication in the preceding hours. You heard many homeowners from German Village come and request certificates of appropriateness for things that they want to do to their homes, things that are very closely looked at for conformity with the German Village guidelines. And certainly those of us who live there respect and feel that we are caretakers of a legacy and that we need to preserve the character of German Village. That is why all of us are very concerned when something like this comes up. And we who fight tooth and nail to keep our neighbors from putting up windows and doors that don't fit, and we see a project like this, and it really kind of makes us very upset because it is our way of life. It is something we feel very, very strongly about. Additionally, in addition to the not meeting the German Village guidelines, I am very concerned about the density and what it will do. Shortly after, there was another project put up, I believe called Jaeger Square, which is not German Village, so it has nothing to do with the guidelines. But it does have to do with the fact that it's great density. And in order to get the water pressure in those units up to that level, it is my understanding that the city of Columbus increases the pressure in all of the water lines. You can check this out with the city. We have very old water lines in German Village. And at one point in time following that project, I learned that the water pressure in my residential lines exceeded 80 PSI. And some of it approached 90 or 100. I had to have a pressure reduction valve put in. What happens, you say, if that does not happen? Ideal, the sweet spot for PSI, and I'm sure the architects here know all this, is about 40 to 60. If the PSI exceeds 80, it will blow out your pipes. It will blow out the joints. It will blow out all of the pipes and the reading to the project. And I really suggest that in addition to the density and the scale that are listed in our German Village guidelines, for which compliance is required for this project, that you also look into what the infrastructure would be affected by this, the city pipes that are there, how the water would be provided to this, and the increased PSI and the potential for destroying the water system and having flooding pipes and broken lines all throughout German Village. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that is the four speakers. Is there anything you want to address that you heard there before the commission?
Yeah, I just want to touch on Blankner. You know, we've been talking with the residents a great deal about that. Our interests are aligned. You know, we want Blankner to look nice. We want it to be improved. And, you know, as part of the site compliance process, you know, we will continue to have conversations with the city of Columbus as to what can be done there. But, you know, a lot of the issues we've been hearing are really existing conditions that exist there today, not things that we are exacerbating. In fact, the pinch point that's 9 feet we just heard from Mike, that's caused by the existing theater today that encroaches 2 feet into the alley, which we of course are removing and setting back quite a distance. As the project exists today, as the site exists today, there's 2 access points on Blankner. We've removed all access points. There will be no vehicular traffic leaving our site going on to Blankner. So I, of course, sympathize with the conditions of those who live on and next to Blankner. And I want to reiterate that, again, our interests are aligned to make that a better street alley. We do have about 3 residences, dwellings that will be literally off of Blankner. So we will be continuing to pursue that. Hopefully we can do that collectively with the residents.
There are a few other items that need to be pointed out. And let's talk about the trash first, if you don't mind. Bendy's Trash is in the back and they have containers that they'll take to their trash station. So that's managed directly. Our own trash is internal to the building. We don't have trash stations in effect or dumpsters open to the outside. They're all internal to the building, and we will have trash cab. I don't know, you're probably familiar with trash. It's a concierge service for removal of trash. So our trash will not be outside of the building from the residential portion of it. So that's one item. But the other thing about the water pressure, I'm a little confused about that, because typically when we build buildings where water pressures are low, we have to provide booster pumps within our own buildings to enhance that water pressure to serve our own buildings. That doesn't mean that we increase the pressure for the streets. Now, if something has happened in the past on another project, I'm not familiar with the city having increased water pressure, just as, oh, sorry. You want me to start over? Well, I'm not aware of where the city has increased water pressures for one building at the expense of other buildings, to where maybe that pressure increases to the extent that it damages internal piping for someone else. Again, what we do is typically we install booster pumps in our own buildings to enhance our water quality and our own pressures. And that's part of it is related to fire protection in some cases, but most of it is related to just domestic water use for our own benefits. So those are some of, I don't want to get into the quick answers, but one of the other things is that when you look at Blankner, yeah, we've moved the building farther back from the right of way at a distance, and we're clearing the power lines. But one of the other things, of course, is that, and I can appreciate what Rosalie's units are probably, but they do encroach in the right of way. And that isn't something that we're not acknowledging. We acknowledge that, which is one of the reasons why we moved our building farther back as well. And we understand that there are stairs that go into those units. That, again, those are all the reasons why we pushed our building farther into the property.
All right, questions, comments from the commission?
I just want to make clear in your opening piece. Thank you. Make clear in your opening piece. You talk about applying the current City of Columbus zoning code. This exists within the zoning class UGN-1, permitting building construction to a height of 45 feet above grade. Building heights facing East Livingston Avenue will not exceed 36 feet above grade, plain consistent with the current code zoning regulations. We had this discussion way back when with a couple of people a year ago, and I just want to make sure it's clear that Title 34, 2024 zoning code, section A10.041, applicability of Title 31 planning and historic preservation code, and the German Village Guidelines adopted in 1999 override all of that zoning stuff.
The good portion of it, certain pieces, but
Yeah.
not the other, not what you're referring to, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not exceeding.
Okay, I just want to make that clear.
We
So we're not,
understand
okay,
We appreciate that.
okay, good, good.
That was one of the reasons that the whole issue of 4 stories to 3 stories.
Yeah.
To ensure that we dropped everything down.
Yeah, and so, and to be honest, I truly appreciate what you guys have done and the effort you've made to get to where this is at.
Thank you.
Can you all speak closer to the microphone?
Certainly.
Thank you.
But I don't think you're there yet. Okay. Um,
Well, I think while we're on the topic of height, can you, because it's not on the elevations for the large mass off of Blankner, can you clarify the height of that stair pop-up that exists on the east side?
on A35.
Yes, to the garden?
Yeah, to that rooftop garden. It's not given an elevation.
West side.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, the west side.
Yeah.
It's nothing more than a 3-foot rail above the roof.
There's a stair structure.
Yeah.
Page 39.
There's a dog house up there.
It's okay.
Scroll.
Page 39.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a proposed elevation that shows it.
Scroll.
Yeah. Oh, that, okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's 8 feet.
Okay.
And that only happens in that location.
Mhm.
So my opinion is new buildings should follow the historic patterns of the vicinity that they exist in. The historic development pattern of properties in the historic district is a guide and a pattern. This is from guidance that's out there that should be adhered to preserve the character of not only the architecture, but the context within it lives, which makes the German Village Historic District as well a well-defined space and sense of place. It's essential that the new structure is compatible with the historic neighborhood. Guidelines have a goal to distinguish this from the historic variations, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to go back because we talked about this last time, and this was one of my point of contentions. Currently, there are 8 parcels in this project site. It appears 6 of these will require lot splits. 5 of these lot splits will affect the historic plan of the neighborhood. It will prevent the future use of yard space for the remaining 5 historic or contributing structures. It diminishes the historic value of these structures by distorting the historic context that they exist in originally, and they still do, even though it's a parking lot in back. And for this reason, the commission has denied lot splits in the past because of what it does to the historic value of the structure that's there. This project will also require lot consolidation to achieve area for the residential building facing East Blankner. This is not representative of the historic land use. Much smaller parcels, much smaller buildings and smaller parcels, et cetera. I think the lot coverage apparently exceeds 50% in all but one lot. Granted, your grand total is different, but I think when we look at each parcel, which basically that's the historic context we're in, it exceeds that. Maximizing lot coverage with new construction is not in accordance with traditional historic development patterns in the neighborhood. It is not appropriate for new construction. There is potential for this block, and this is my biggest concern. Potential for this block is proposed to no longer be contributing to the historic district and therefore may jeopardize the status of this block and possibly the adjacent blocks, if not the district, continuing on as being granted historic preservation granting. Massing, shape. The shape of the building in toto is a simpler form than what you had before, but it is not of a similar complexity to adjacent and nearby buildings. It's a 3-story structure with a flat roof, clad in fiber cement siding with 2-story brick protruding bays out the back, which speaks to townhouses, but you got a 3rd floor on top of this, which speaks to roofs, but not really roofs. The scale of this building in relation to adjacent nearby structures is significantly larger. It's huge, covers half the block, and appears out of scale. The proportion of the core mass is excessively horizontal. The relationship between height and width should be taller than wide. The height of the new building should fall at or below the average height of surrounding structures. The height of surrounding structures is determined as the midpoint of a sloped roof, by definition. This structure exceeds the heights of all the surrounding structures. You top out at the top of the ridge point, but that is not considered the top of those structures. And more significantly, roof shapes and roof elements. Roof shapes and elements should reflect the predominant patterns of building in the area and should relate to the style of the house or houses or structures there. This is not a house, but an apartment building. With the exception of one element on Livingston, all the roofs are flat. Flat roofs do not relate to the predominant patterns of the building in the area, and therefore it's not compatible. Extensive use of lap and panel siding is up to question, should be discussed. Details of the building and elevations are not too bad. And to relate to the zoning code, and I'm going to reference this back to HBO staff. Under new construction in the code, which is 3116.12, item C, height as viewed from the street should be compatible with adjacent contributing structures. Physical size and scale should be compatible to existing contributor properties without overwhelming them. I don't think you make that. Item F, the rhythm of spacing, the relationship of a structure to the open space between it and adjoining structures, so respect the surrounding environment. The building mass of a large development project can be varied and formed by using setups for open space and landscaping when appropriate to provide necessary visual transitions between a large structure and adjacent buildings. I think this one's so large you can't even do that. So I don't think you meet that. Item G, the rhythm of projections, the relationship of entrances, porches, and other projections to sidewalks or streets shall be guided by the streetscape provided by adjacent and visually related structures and open spaces. Your elevation on Blankner has no entrances. It is one big, just a windowed elevation. We have nothing like that in the village. And item I, the structure's roof shape is a major distinguishing visual element. Generally, a simple roof shape similar in form and type to adjacent and visually related roofs is appropriate. You're not anywhere near what's around the building. K, scale, size, mass of structures in relation to open spaces, openings, and projections shall be compatible with adjacent visually related structures and open spaces. I would question that. And M, the commission shall consider, in addition to any other pertinent factors, the architectural characteristics typical of structures in the district or listed property, the historical and architectural value and significance, the architectural style, general design, arrangement, texture, material, and color of the architectural features involved, and its relationship to the architectural features of other structures in the immediate neighborhood. So that's what we're tasked with. I don't think this does that. Where brick predominates in nearby structures, new construction shall be a brick. If frame predominates in nearby structures, then the new construction shall be a frame. Where vacant land predominates, brick shall be preferred, which is what we've got here. You've got a whole lot of non-brick surfaces. So I just don't think you're there. A lot of effort gone into it. I just don't think you're there.
Can we respond to your comments or should we
Absolutely.
wait? Okay. Yeah, let's start with lot coverage. So you say that it's uncharacteristic to combine lots and put a residential multi-unit building. Have you?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I have here Beck Place condominiums. Are you familiar with that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so then you'll know that in 2006, there was 8 variances approved. The first variance was to permit 20 residential units on 6 1/2 lots joined to create one parcel, which was approved by the commission.
Back then-
Over the course of over an acre, a larger lot than what we're combining today then. 3 stories.
And there was one structure in all of that at the time.
In fact, there was an existing structure at the time on the frontage and
That was retained.
and yes, similar to us, it's a complete parallel. And behind it was a parking lot. That's what it reads here, actually. Nonetheless, there's a literal parallel anecdote of Beck Place condominiums, a multi-unit dwelling, 6 1/2 parcels were combined. Well, let's take a look at some of the other, the variances were to permit dwellings that occupy greater than 50% lot area to occupy 75%. And this was a city Columbus variance, so this is simply building coverage.
To answer that, those parcels did not represent individual lots with individual historic structures on them, like is what you're doing. So you're taking the back half of historic properties and combining them. That was not the case at Beck Street.
The existing condition of the site today is not historic properties, it's a parking lot. That is the
It is a
existing
parking
condition.
lot that covers the back.
And
of
it
6
stretches
parcels,
across,
But
exactly.
they are individual parcels. The back of those parcels still belong to the historic properties on Livingston.
So you're telling me that the parking lot that exists today, it stretches across property lines and takes up the entire rear half of the property. We are mimicking that with a new structure, How is that not
You
respecting the
are,
existing
you are
condition?
taking open space and building a 3-story structure on top of it.
I don't think Sherman Village quantify parking lot as open space.
How
So-
would you qualify an open parking lot? I mean, and this goes back to, I had this thing this afternoon, I don't really want to bring this up, but when does open space inside the village start to be contributing? Because we've had people come and do applications for a double lot. They wanted to do an application in the front, and we said that changed the historic context of that street frontage too much, and requested that they move the additions to the back to preserve that open space. I'm not bringing that up here because it really mixes the mess up that we're talking about, and I don't mean that detrimentally. But that's a concept that's starting to come to my mind as we're looking at this.
So we're preserving the parking lot is the key argument. That's the open
Not
space
making
that
it-
needs to be
no,
preserved.
Not as a functioning parking lot, but as a potential space that is adjacent to the back of the historic structures that are on Livingston.
So
Okay.
I
That
will,
belongs to them right now.
Okay, so there's a few,
Staff has a.
yeah,
to make
I
this
will note that lot splits and combinations are not an approval authority of the commission.
It has been in the
It's-
past.
It's a
Recommendation.
recommendation.
Okay, recommendation.
Final approval has to go through council.
Okay.
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah, that's it.
Good point. Yeah.
And for anyone in the audience, please, just while we're having this discussion.
Yes. Yes, this is a hearing between the applicants and the commission. The public forum was the time for public comments. I will make my statement that I hear what you're saying, Commissioner Thiel. I agree with some of your statements. I'll say along Livingston, just in the others, just down to the east, there are 2 large parcels where in the past we have combined individual single parcels to have large commercial structures down there, 2.5 stories. I feel there's precedence, whether it's the scale or not, I think can be up for debate, but I believe that there is precedence throughout the village in small circumstances because we don't have that many, I won't say vacant, but undeveloped parcels together this much. And that is the root of the rub I think we're having with this conversation.
All the other big developments were single parcels. We didn't have to combine them. I'm thinking the Lear Street condominiums. I'll go back to Beck. I disagree with that.
The parcels over at Starbucks property, that one was
Yeah, and that was one
multiple
development.
combined.
Yeah, that was one
And
development.
they carved out the one little existing structure as a separate parcel
Yeah.
up there.
I agree. Yeah.
I will say that I'm on the record of if it was not 4 stories down to 3 stories, I could get behind it. I am in favor of what is here. Is it perfect? I don't think it'll ever be perfect. I think it's a matter of we need to find something that's compatible. And I think that's up for debate amongst the commissioners of what is compatible, what is not. Flat roofs. There are flat roofs in the southeast and southwest corner of Blankner and Dixon, as well as northwest corner of Blankner and Dixon, all 3 residential, all 3 brick. I think there is some precedence for flat roofs. However, the street itself is a lot more non-flat roofs along that street. That street is predominantly brick. There are a handful of framed houses. There are flat roofs up on Livingston in the commercial context standpoint on either side past the current parcel block. I think leaving the open space on Livingston as the parking lot where we are not always pro parking, I think that is a good approach for the development, leaving some verticality out there. To the comments of the neighbors about the narrowness of Blankner, the right of way is the right of way. The encroachment into the right of way by the existing property is being removed. So all of the encroachment into the right of way is being resolved with this development. Aside, potentially, if we look at the plans, the question I would have is the corner of Dixon and Blankner. There's an existing encroachment of a curb that looks like is being maintained on the plan, page 47. Good. I go with the PDF page number. So you'll see that the right-of-way jogs, obviously, as you get west on Blankner. The dashed line shows where the right-of-way widens up. The curb there along is currently there, but the driving portion is not getting any smaller than what is already existing. Going up Dixon, that's where I'm seeing the curb encroaching in. And a curb encroaching in is one thing because curb sidewalks, that's all part of right of way in the city. But showing your driveway curb bump outs into that space, I question, has that been reviewed with the city along Dixon?
No, we've done preliminary site compliance on previous submissions, but not on this one, so it has not.
With the city's push for ADA and accessibility, which I'll keep on harping on forever in the future now, ADA accessibility, I understand your main entrance is up in the center of the block. These entryways out on Blankner, pedestrian entryways, and then on Dixon, are any of these intended to be ADA accessible egress, ingress? Okay. Okay. The reason for my questioning is if it wasn't ADA accessible or exit, you can't dump it out into the right of way. So,
Let me just question again. Where we create an accessible route vis-a-vis an elevator, takes to another floor, any level that is created an accessible route.
Sure.
Then it has to be accessible.
Understood.
Where we are here.
Good. A couple other questions I had. So you mentioned the trash service is all enclosed, the Bendy trash service. To the conversation about splitting lots, combining lots, what's being left over to the existing lots. The trash service to Bendy, does it still meet city requirements as is? Currently, their access to their trash is from the parking lot, which now goes away. Are we putting any onus on that property now with what is proposed by chopping off that south portion of the property?
Well, I guess the whole point there is that that trash is going to remain where it is, but its access is still clear out to Sixth.
Okay. The reason I ask is just perusing code requirements and trash requirements is any kind of roll-off dumpsters would need to have some kind of access. And right now, the distance from existing building to new proposed building, is that enough for dumpster?
The distance is enough. I guess the real answer to the question is that, we're working with Bendy's to determine what trash service can be accommodated to.
Sure.
Working with the city again for public trash service.
Understood. And then along Dixon at this end, while this proposal is showing a building there, right now it's a fence. There's no extra space to pull over existing cars. So it's not making that pinch point any worse than what is there. As far as the comments that were made about two-way traffic, it's an alley. It's called a street, but it's always been an alley. It is what it is. The development is not producing any more encroachment or any more problems into the existing right-of-way. The city is not going to eminent domain the property away from from this owner to take it and make a larger right-of-way. It's just, the city won't do that. So I understand the neighbor's concerns. It's existing. It is what it is. It's how the property was laid, or the neighbor was laid out. There is no vehicular entry exit along Blankner at this point with this design. It's all based off of Sixth for the main entrance for in and out for the apartment renters. And then private drives and the mechanical garage is over on the other side, on the alley. I had asked for information about the stormwater, what's going to happen there. It's here. I see it. If the city is good with the stormwater plan, I'm good with it. I'm not going to get into details of that. To the comment about water service, water for this development per the plans coming off of Livingston, which already has a big main line. It should not be, water service should not be running through the neighborhood to get to this property based on the drawings we've been presented. The rest of my questions are more details. So I'll let the rest of the commission talk about what they feel about the property structurally, architecturally, and then I'll let my details wait till last.
Well, I would say that I certainly appreciate the reduction in the density. I think that the plan has come a long way. I do appreciate the development of more green space. You know, they're really green corridors, but I do think that the overall plan has come a long way in terms of just allowing more light and open space into the interior of the development based on what the last plan was. I do think there could still be opportunities to use some espalier planting or, you know, vines on the walls, things that would help to make that south facade, you know, just soften it. I think there's opportunity to do that with the green space. I, you know, appreciate that you have the beds there, so it could be done. My questions then go to the third floor and just the materials and siding. So maybe that, I'll wait and we can address that when we talk details, because I did not fully understand what those elevations, you know, we're proposing in terms of the siding. But I'll let Effie.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest positive change for this round is you guys break the massing down into northern and southern portion by introducing the internal walkway. I really like that move, but I don't see the internal brick walk. I don't see it continue all the way to Dixon Alley, so I was kind of confused. It was kind of like chopping off. Yeah, right, that page. I guess that's one question and one comment. I like the site plan, but I have some issues with the elevation. It's particularly the south elevation. The north elevation, I think, is pretty successful by keeping the abandoned existing parking lot and the existing structures, you know, that from the Livingston perspective, it feels like a mix of different housing typology. It feels like German Village to me. But when you turn around to the Blankner side, the south elevation, it seems like a cookie cutter. If you pause on that page. I understand the flat roof is, you know, typical housing typology. You know, you can see it a few precedents on Blankner, but this is a big shift from previous design intention. I just want to understand, like, I mean, previous design, it was like a mix of, you know, pitch roof, flat roof, kind of mix them together. But this one totally, you know, stripped that design intention away. And I don't think it's that successful. And I don't think that represents German Village here. Keep going. I have some detailed comments. Let me see, sorry. Oh, I appreciate the addition of the green space, but I'm wondering, like, I think there's some discrepancy if you look at some of the plant bed is not extended, I'm sorry, along Blankner Street again. Some of the plant bed is like intentionally leaving like 1 or 2 foot brick strip between the curb to the plant bed. I don't know if it's intentional. Do you like want to make a continuous walkway? But the thing is not continuous and it's not wide enough. So I feel like, you know, you either position yourself, give it more open space, right? Or make some more room by creating a continuous walkway along Blackner. I think those are my big comments, and I will have more detailed questions following up later.
I had a lot of similarities to Commissioner Yin. The revised elevation feels like a deviation from where we were supportive of in the last hearing. In terms of its careful layering of various masses along the facade that have now been shaped as standard rectangular extrusions with elevated decks. But the one remnant of this massing strategy along Livingston Avenue, I feel is a successful design strategy, and that has broken down the multi-use building very successfully. The current design favors repetition of elements and heights, leading to a lack of character that are out of scale and proportion and read as a development not rooted within the design guidelines of German Village. And I think there could be subtle changes that mix a lot of what we had seen previously with some of the pitches that can be reincorporated in some of these. So that way it's not a standard repetition of a two-story box on the rear of Blankner that varies in materials and varies in massing as you've started to do. And that's a lot of what I have on massing. The middle hyphen piece feels a bit out of scale and shifts versus the south elevation in the north. And in our guidelines, we say a new building with large expanses of floor to ceiling windows and little exterior wall area would therefore be inappropriate. And that glass walkway, even though it's units, feels too much of a deviation from the standards that Durham Village has set, in my opinion.
Yeah, we'd love to respond to a few of those comments. I guess we'll start with Commissioner Schultz. The hyphen really was inspired by Beck Place condominiums, really. We noticed how the fenestration was brick, and then you had this exact sort of detailing and glass in between those. So that's where we got that inspiration. There's an inspiration page at the very end, but you know, those are things we're more than happy to work through. Truth be told, on Blankner, we tried to keep the elevation, at least on the first and second floor, as close to we could as possible from the last submission. We also thought that was successful. And, you know, for every submission that the commissioners see, there's 10 to 12 concept plans that we go through. It's a lot of time. The Italianate facade, it felt disingenuous. It felt with the third story, it felt like it was an attempt to read like a structure it wasn't. We would be happy to re-explore that. We have plenty of plans that do that. Yeah, right there, similar to the previous. You know, that's something we can go back to and explore. Again, it didn't feel right at the time, and George, you could probably speak more to the architecturally how we made that decision.
Well, I mean, a lot of water has gone under that bridge, so it's difficult to remember exactly what caused the decisions. But I think that a combination of trying to get unit plans that were somewhat uniform rather than the one iteration, the last iteration that you saw from the previous architect had, I believe it had 40 some odd unit types.
I believe it.
Constructability is a problem in today's day and age, especially construction dollars. So what we attempted to do was take that back a step and try to come back with something that's a little bit more reasonable in terms of, you know, the types of units. I think we're down to maybe 8 or 10 units. And so that really, when you change the interior plan, obviously it impacts the exterior. We designed from the inside out rather than the outside in. You know, we don't do an elevation like some architects in Los Angeles or wherever, you know, we may be that really try to win an award. We try to be practical in terms of delivering a product that can be saleable and deliverable to a developer. So in effect, you know, that was an impact. There are elements in that top view, which were from the previous iteration, that could be, maybe slide over, yeah, just that way, and up a bit. No, the other way.
Get them both on the screen.
Yeah, just like that. There are elements you can see from even looking at this elevation where some of the materiality, and one was one of the comments that you made, could be adapted. Those were some of our earlier versions to it. So I think that we can make some subtle changes to the elevations to really start to pick up on some of that massing. Again, the hyphen was done with purpose. And it was really an attempt to split the building up more than anything into two masses. But the minute that you take the hyphen and leave it alone and take some of the adjoining masses, east and west, and take some of the characteristic elements as we had included on that top elevation, maybe it does change quite a bit. It helps change. In terms of some of the landscaping comments, just quickly, the espalier is something that, was discussed, something that we will have. I don't recall right now if Realm has a detail for that, but it's something that could easily be done, especially on the Blankner side, to really change the character again quite a bit, whether it's the bottom elevation that you see or whether it's the top elevation. Those elements could always, certainly be added. By the way, just as a clarification on the sidewalk, it does intend to go all the way through to Dixon on the north side, and on the south side along Blankner, it does continue. I'm not sure if it's a function of the rendering or what the case may be, but it should continue all the way across.
But that's, I mean, I guess you can check the width
Yeah.
of it. It seems really narrow. I mean,
Yeah, we would make it deep enough, the sidewalk would be deep enough to where we would push. our
right, but then you
landscaping.
lose your open space.
I'm not,
Mm-hmm. To catch 22.
Yeah, it's a lot of boxes to check off. So, if the pedestrian experience and that connectivity along Blankner is, preferred over some of the green space we're providing, we'd be happy to have that conversation. I'm sure you guys can imagine trying to satisfy both is a bit difficult.
My feeling is the Blankner elevations last time, I think it was one of the more successful pieces. There was some pushback on some of the detailing at the roof edges, overhangs, gutters, that kind of stuff, but it's details that can be worked out. I think going to the copy paste repetition, what's there now is the least successful piece of this iteration.
Okay.
But I think a mix of roofing details could help push this forward, I think. I think there's going to be some commissioners who are against the third floor being boxy. I'm not sure what can be done about that specifically. I think that's what I'm hearing is a point of contention with some commissioners.
Okay.
I know that the Beck Place condos, along Jaeger, one of the example photos that you showed, the third floor was a pitched roof. So you didn't have the vertical glazing. I'm not sure if there's anything to be done up there on the third floor to kind of let that recede back versus being a straight wall up there. You don't see it as much when you have the bump out pieces on the first two floors, but in between, that's where you get that straight up vertical shot and you see that third floor as you're walking by or driving by. But I'm good with where the overall massing concept is. Just how do you get the pieces to blend in, details and everything to work out. That's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, and we appreciate that. And to speak on the Blankner elevation, again, our inspiration were the row houses on Lozelle, the row houses on 4th and Thurman. That's, when you walk those streets, you do see sort of long expanses of that nice brick and the detailing. So that's where we got our inspiration. And I think we as a group can certainly explore. If you found previous submissions more successful on Blankner, we can absolutely take another look at that.
I think that the previous iteration showing a little bit of material mix, a little bit of detail mix, lets it blend into the surroundings. It speaks to the comment earlier about material should mimic what is there, the mix of what is there. There's a lot of brick along Livingston. There's quite a bit of brick along Blankner, but you also have roof changes on Blankner surrounding you.
Okay.
So would you have, yeah, I guess the question, just to really put to tag this, would it be reasonable to assume or to anticipate that if we came back with like the third element that you see in the top elevation, which is really intended to be siding, where that goes all the way to grade. So integrating, full sided element, would that be an issue with you?
When you say a full-sided element, what do you mean?
The gable all the way to grade. And I would never take siding to grade, by the way, just for maintenance purposes. But that's on top.
What?
The gray, sort of gray, that one,
The darker gray?
the lighter gray.
Lighter.
Yeah.
Doing what with it?
Pardon me?
Doing what with it?
Well, what I'm saying is if you take a look, if you take that image, if you take that element and take the second element in from the west, that one,
Yeah.
And switching, kind
yeah,
of popping out?
to where really we start to have a little bit of brick and a little bit of siding, some brick and some siding rather than
Which
just
is-
all one.
Which is what the first iteration did. You have
Yeah. A mix.
flat roof brick, then you change the
Yeah.
materials.
Mm-hmm.
Materials, you start sprinkling it in,
But
and it breaks up that facade from
Yeah.
just being block, 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 block with a dark background.
yeah, and again, there was an influence that drove this decision, this plan decision, but yeah, I guess what I'm getting at is that now that you see the two of them on the same sheet,
Mhm.
you see some opportunities there
Mhm.
on the top elevation, the previous iterations, that maybe from this entire conversation, that could be adapted to that bottom elevation. In other words, from the 4-story down to the 3-story element.
Yeah.
I believe so.
And there were, without getting into how it got to be all brick and siding on that elevation, I think that materiality can vary quite a bit.
Sure.
And I think that you made a comment earlier in terms of, or there was a comment made earlier in terms of the amount of siding material.
Mhm.
That's why I'm asking in part the
Under-
question.
Understood. I think the backdrop piece, I'll call it,
Yeah,
that's monolithic of the same siding material, which is, I think that's the issue of all of that being monolithic siding. Your pieces out front are currently monolithic brick.
yeah,
If you pepper in some of the
yeah.
details, roof shape changes and whatnot along those pop outs, is there anything that can be done on that backdrop component? So it's not just a single, I'm not sure if it works better with
Yeah.
leaving it or not. I think that's
Man,
architecturally.
The first thing that comes to mind as you look at both of those elevations
Mhm.
is that the top elevation, even though it's a 4-story, the top is a lighter tone,
Mm-hmm.
whereas the bottom is
Mhm.
fairly significant in
And
it.
I'm not reading the brown as background. I'm reading the brown as the mass with brick
Yeah.
bays sticking out.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the bays being analogous to the row houses in the village.
Well, I think as Kareem mentioned,
That is one big building.
Real quick, Commission, before we continue on to additional discussion, since we're on this elevation specifically, would it be beneficial for the commission at a maybe next iteration, if that's kind of where we're leaning, for the applicant to provide maybe like a streetscape elevation of the opposite side of Blankner to be in comparison, so you can kind of see like, of course, their proposal of Blankner with comparison of what's existing? I mean, I know, of course, the commission knows what buildings are on that, but it might be beneficial to have those two
I
kind
think
of elevations to see.
it wouldn't hurt, just a collage of pictures kind of stitched
you're
together.
saying the south side?
Yeah, so compare A
Yeah.
to B
Yeah.
visually.
So there's at least there the comparison to show like the materiality, shape, sizing, and everything like that.
We've asked
Um,
very similar for new garage additions on the side they're on and the opposite.
And I don't think a collage of pictures is successful. I think it should be a scale drawing.
Scale drawing?
Yeah, scale
Fair,
drawing.
fair.
Just if that would be helpful for discussion
Sure.
with that,
Understood.
since that's kind of the conversation right now. So.
Okay.
just-
I do have one more questions on this elevation. So I guess some of the windows on the first floor are gray out. I understand those because that's garage, I'm sorry, parking behind it, right? So what do you see like through the window? So it's a real window, but what you're seeing is a parking in the car. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is it glazed?
No, it isn't glazed. It's
Okay.
kind of a screening material. We have to maintain it to keep it open in order to avoid
Yeah.
mechanical ventilation. It's just an open garage at that point.
So it's like a faux window, but
It's not going to read as the windows above it.
Gated opening, basically.
Yeah.
Yes. Plantings in front of it.
oh, okay. I see. So it's not really a window, it's just an opening. Okay, just want to clarify that.
Um,
And I think that, and I apologize, I think that the intent is there, is that if we start integrating, for example, in this elevation, you start integrating other plantings and maybe espalier along the way. We don't want to block the window because that's
Sure.
necessary for ventilation. We start blending other materials, planting materials, that would sort of soften the edge to begin with.
And this is really a solution to avoid anyone really seeing where the parking is. You know, we want, when folks are walking around this property, they're not seeing any sort of expansive parking structure. I would be remiss without saying this is a very fancy and expensive way to hide parking, is to extend these types of materials to hide it. So I think that's a big achievement of the design, is you can't tell where the 50-some parking spaces are on the project.
Is there anything else we want to talk about on this Blankner elevation at this stage?
No, I think we've pretty much covered it. I would just iterate, though, that the mass, the dark mass, which is, you know, the major bar at the building, and the materials that you see so prevalent at the third floor really continue down in between your boxes. And if there's some level of detail that can be applied to those, and changing of that facade material so it doesn't seem like a block long mass.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and mention what Kareem mentioned a bit ago. What he stated anyway, is we had dozens of iterations of this. Many of them included different coloration of that material to where, you know, maybe a color came back down to infill between the brick masses. So I think that those are the studies that, you know, can be accomplished and accommodated. When you asked your question, I misunderstood it first. I thought you were asking if we could go ahead and have an interim meeting, I guess, to have a look at maybe some of the primarily this elevation.
I think if you feel free to bring us multiple options of elevations
I'm talking
to,
next week.
I know, but I mean, maybe for the business meeting, submitting
Yeah.
a couple options, and then we can talk about them there. Yeah.
And of course, the commission, you know, it's one of the most sophisticated commissions I've, you know, presented in front of. This elevation, the south elevation, it's unfortunate because it doesn't exist in real life, meaning there will never be a point where you're looking at this elevation and seeing from 6th to Dixon. So we show the elevations, but the renderings are really what you'll see in real life.
I think it's probably worthwhile starting from page 1 and looking at the renderings just before we dismiss here. Get an idea, because it exactly makes your point.
And I'm going to acknowledge that, but I'm going to also counterpoint it in the fact that in my head, as I'm walking by that, I'm appreciating this huge, massive building from Cedar all the way down to the end. And I realize this is one big building, and I've got a lot of smaller stuff to the south of it. So you may not see it all at once, but mentally, whether you consciously or unconsciously, you do perceive it as a big, long building.
And, you know, those do exist throughout the village. Specifically, the reason why we chose the row houses is because they're from block to block, which I can think of 2 examples on Lozelle and 4th and Thurmond, where there are row houses that go, again, there's several units that expand from one block to another.
Houses on Lozelle are duplexes, and there's a group of 3 and a group of 4. There's public access between them through to the alley behind. So you'll never be able to do that with this because of what your program is.
But that's
It's almost there, but you're not there.
I think we're, you know, part of what.
And they have doors on that side with porches, but you don't have.
Part of the conversation is that we could create the negative space, and then to where, you know, that's the whole.
The old figure ground stuff.
Yeah. Negative space. And it was a project that we developed years and years ago downtown, in downtown Columbus. where in fact Bob Lover sits, you know Bob Lover.
I know Bob, yeah.
Suggested that where the entire elevation, which was about 300 feet long, and it was all flats, it was a 4-story building with all flats. One of the suggestions that he made was, George, Bob and I went to school together. George, just put fake doors instead of windows. And I guess, you know, I hate to say it that way, but that was a device that really worked. That satisfied the look. the standpoint.
It's an architectural trick.
Trump fake.
If it was painted, it'd be Trump Lloyd. Yeah, no, I'm saying that's an architectural Palladium with matching doors on both sides, and one door doesn't go anywhere.
So how do you feel about that? I mean, I don't want to.
We have fixed shut doors throughout the village. I'm not opposed to the concept.
I don't want to, well, I mean, they would be real. But my point is that I saw one nod, not one shaking their head, no way. But if we start doing tricks like that to really, I mean, is it just that? Is it
It
just?
makes it more residential, makes it more pedestrian.
Yeah, but would it be looked at askance?
I don't know.
I saw one of these.
How many people would know they weren't real doors?
I mean, they're into the garage. They could be real doors.
I want to move away from Blankner, add a few more comments to a couple other pieces before we end all this, just so we can get everything out there. If you can go to page 36 of the application sheet. Yeah. PDF 36, there you go. Top left, east elevation. There's the gap between proposed new portion with the garage doors and the Bendy building. That's the east facade of the stairs. I'm assuming we can't put any glazing or anything into that area. Is there, as you're walking by, that's a 3-story sheer face. Think about what you could do to kind of break that up. Yeah, so I'd just say, yeah, whatever you could do, just think about how you can break up that 3-story mass.
I think my last comment on the Blankner elevation is something about the proportion of the 2 brick, for lack of a better term, piers on either side of the hyphen. I think that needs a little bit of massaging. They might need to get larger. They feel too thin and tall right now.
Okay. I can see that.
Like bridge pillars.
Yeah, it looks more bridge-like. I know we're going for a gateway, but
I think the other piece I'd point out, so coming same sheet, bottom left corner on north elevation. Now that we have that parking lot maintained, looking at the top left corner of that elevation, your stair windows, 1, 2, it just feels like there's a blank wall up there on top of some little bit of brick. So think about that view, because that's going to be clear view up from the sidewalk past the parking lot. I do appreciate the detailing, corbelling brick detailing on top. That's I asked for it last time. It's great. I think the thing you got really well this one around is the multi-use building. The commercial residential look, I think, works. I do have a question on the door and window on the White House side. It looks like there's no transom over the door, which we would typically see in some of the older houses. So I question, is the right door height, right window height, something just feels off with the height of window, height of door on that location?
Well, the head should match.
Yeah.
Yeah, the head of the window and the head of the door.
Correct.
Will match.
Something just feels out of scale.
Is it the commercials
Maybe
too
it's just
short?
skewed, but
I think it's the
that's the
round
residential.
windows.
The commercial is next to it is the brick.
Yeah.
Something just does with the sill of the door, height of door, or lintel door, sill of window, lintel window.
Yeah.
The elevation,
Something feels
I do
off.
see
in
it.
the elevation, the top of the door is,
It's the top of that window. I think it's the,
I see your point.
oh, between
Yeah.
those two?
yeah, I'm good at this.
So just something to look at when you get to that details.
I
That's
recognize your
decent.
point.
Yeah, and the other piece is just light fixtures. We see 2 per door, Historically, on properties, we do one per person door. So just think about throughout the village, what's the predominant. Other than that, I think that arrangement works really well.
Yeah.
And the only other question I had on the landscape plan, pavement materials on a landscape plan. Let me find the plan. Then I promise this is the last of my comments. Page. I'm too far back. Need a table of contents. Hold. Almost there. 17 works. Okay, page 18. On either side of the new multi-purpose, multi-use structure, you're showing concrete paving on both sides. Brick would be more appropriate on
Yeah.
both sides of that. We had a property elsewhere in this block that came in and put concrete in, and we had them go back and pull a bunch of it out and put brick back in place.
Yep.
I do appreciate brick paving throughout the interior and everything else. That's great. Just anywhere you have concrete pedestrian paving, consider.
Yeah.
Are you confusing concrete with actual landscape area?
These two pathways right here are currently shown as concrete. This one.
There's.
Oh, okay.
pedestrian
Gotcha.
filler.
All right.
So small details.
And have that walk extend all the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, odd question. The old theater building you're tearing down, which was the core building and then had 8-foot additions put on either side. At that same time, they built on the back of the historic house to the west. Yeah. Is there any consideration you're taking that down too? Because I saw you talked about remediation and fixing the old building because of the attachment. I'm not sure what the attachment is there, but certainly that back part is attached to that theater building. I'm just bringing it up.
So you're asking if we could tear that down as well?
No, I'm just-
Simply
I'm
put?
just-
Just a portion in the back.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just bringing it up. I'm not sure you can't tear down the theater building and really screw that up. And in that case, maybe you ought to be talking about
It is connected.
Okay.
Yeah. I drove the site today.
Yeah.
That piece there you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah, right there.
that's actually part of those two sites that were added, yeah.
Got it.
You're gonna have to help me understand that one.
Yeah. It's, yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments from the commission at this stage?
Well, yeah, I hate to be so direct, but I want to make sure we're leaving here with a general consensus. It may not be unanimous, but our consultants, they're great. It takes a lot of time and resources to do a lot of these things. Are we at a general agreement where with the site layout, pending some of the details we talked about regarding massing and the site plan? Can we feel confident leaving here that if we address the things we talked about, that won't come back later in future meetings to say, well, we don't like the buildings, so to speak?
I think the I don't use the word anti, but if you're pro and con, the con side, I think is scale, mass, and coverage, which was stated over here. How does everybody feel about the footprint, general footprint of the building currently across all the existing lots? Generally in support of what's there?
Jenny, support with the site plan.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
There we go. I think you've got the majority in your favor there. As far as materials and whatnot, that's still, we got to figure out what that needs to be. I don't think we can say, yes, you change it to A, it's going to be approved. think we just got to work through what that is.
Is it safe to suggest that when we come back with another application, it'll go to business meeting first?
Yes.
Will you have an opportunity at that point to have reviewed it, to where you can hear some comments back and forth, enabling us, if possible, to make another step if we had to? In other words, we're going to come
Yeah.
back with some ideas, hopefully capturing the thought
We-
that were shared today.
We can't have back and forth.
No, between
At-
ourselves,
But we can't outside of the hearing format.
even in a business.
At the business meeting, we can identify if anything else is needed, but sunshine laws, everything in public, I don't think, if we don't have quorum, we can't really have discussions about.
Some other commissions, it's happened to where there have been discussions to where the applicant, us, and in a lot of instances, we're able to pick up ideas, so you guys are all wet still, and come back with some other idea, and then we came back with other ideas at the formal hearing. I mean,
think we-
otherwise, we're looking at months.
I think we have to confer with our legal counsel to find out what we can and can't do in terms
But
of,
it asked because of
yeah.
other commissioners, or other
Yeah,
commissions.
it's slippery slope.
I know, but, well, I think you've given some good insight, obviously. And the whole idea that the massing or that the site development could work is essential. I think the rest of it is, the idea is capture some of that prior direction.
Sure.
Materiality seems to be one. Some of the massing, especially on Blankner. I don't think there's very much issue on Livingston.
I think that's a agreement.
We're gonna take a
Okay.
stab at it.
Yeah. we
Okay.
will.
Maybe we have it in the can already.
We love coming back here. It's been over a year, so.
I appreciate the effort. Thank you.
It's been 8 years.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, we need to
Yeah, we
continue.
did get a vote to continue.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So it is an action app.
Is there a motion, please?
Go, Rachel.
Oh, gosh. On application COA 2600322 for 247 East Livingston Avenue, I move to continue the application.
Second.
We have a second. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it. Motion passes. And we need a motion on item 2, which the applicant had not shown.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shown up?
Is there an applicant for
Application
number 2, 544 South 4th Street? None.
Hearing none. Commissioner, on COA 2600172 for 544 South 4th Street, I move to continue.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it.
I move to adjourn.
Yeah, move. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We got a second. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it. Too bad.